What's up, everybody? It is time for the $2,500 Six Max. I am excited about this one. We should see some really good play here. We have 14 players remaining, as you can see. Or is it 13? 13 players remaining. We lost a player just now. Got Sonia Rostov. Jonathan, how you doing?
Feeling great. I'm ready for this prestigious event. With 13 players left, I can tell you one of the players great is Kristen Bicknell, who's going to be going for her third bracelet.
That's
also,
pretty
of course,
cool.
widely recognized as one of the best players in the world, Kristen Bicknell. And there's some pretty good hands here, four-handed.
Now, the interesting thing about the format of this tournament is that they play Six Max until the final table, which is then nine-handed. So I wonder if they're going to know what an under-the-gun range is by then. Or if they're just going to go ahead and put all the chips in all the time.
Yeah, that's a really interesting question. It's going to be, wow. How about King Queen just folding? We're four-handed here.
Well, there was a three-bet.
Squeeze. No, I know, but still. They're relatively deep, too. 46 blinds effective. I fully expected King Queen to at least call four-handed.
I've been watching this thing develop for a while on the app, and I've noticed that Zoned In has been a chip leader for a very long time, since maybe 3 or 4 p.m. Pacific time. It's now 6 p.m. Pacific time as I speak.
Wow. Yeah. Maybe Christopher just doesn't want to play big pots against Zoned In with some. I mean, King Queen's pretty good holding, but it's certainly not true premium, right? It's
no,
a top 20 hand or something. Anyway, Zoned In takes another one down. And
you think Zoned In's going to get this one too with a 3-bet? Feels like maybe. No.
Not wow.
Just folded.
Really interesting.
Okay, let's try to figure that one out. That could be a misclick. That could be a function of the VPIP being displayed on the left, and they don't want their VPIP to keep going up. So they felt like King Queen against this player in this position wasn't a good call. That's the best I got. I don't know. It's tough to know.
I mean, it's weird. They're deep enough. Like Zoned In doesn't have to 3-bet. Zoned In could just call.
Yeah.
It's fine. You got position with a hand that flops really well and a hand that when you 3-bet often folds out worse hands and gets called by better. Not only, of course, but like King Jack off may fold and Ace Queen ain't folding kind of a thing. So
yeah.
Well, I don't think Zoned In's folding this one, and we may get a confrontation with I see your card. We'll see. Right now.
Seems likely. Yeah, there's an all-in. I can't imagine a fold from Zoned In coming. Can you?
No way.
No.
No chance. That would be insane to fold a hand this good. And there's the call.
All right, we got our first flip.
Some backdoors for...
there's one.
Backdoors coming in. Double gutter. King, 9,
this
ace,
is quite
queen.
A squeeze. Could be a 9.
Well, it ain't a king or a 9. Sorry.
What is it? It's a 7.
It's a 7. So slow. Always slow. Wow, that must have been a little scary. Oh, Christopher wants everyone to know that he would have gone backdoor with the flush.
Yep, because you were definitely going to play that hand. Hey, look, we got 10s against queens. All of Zoned In's work is about to come crashing down, it seems like. Just like that.
Wow. It's possible because they're deep enough. Zoned In isn't going to 4-bet. It's possible.
Yeah, I could see a flat here. It's not a terrible idea. Oh, nope, there it is.
There it is. Understandable jam, of course. And wow, Zoned In is down to 137K.
Just devastating.
2 hands. Clubs are no good either. It's going to be a 10 or nothing. Wow.
It's going to be a real slow 10 if it is a 10, I'll tell you that much.
It is not a 10.
King.
And wow, it's basically over. 3 blinds now. From chip leader to 3 blinds in 2 hands.
Interesting that I just made that anecdote about how Zoned In had been basically wire-to-wire chip leading, and then it's just like that.
That was perfect timing.
And now I see your card is the chip leader. You can see on the left there we have the player information. Has significant chip lead, in fact.
Yeah. Go from 20 blinds or so suddenly to 86. That is a pretty good deal in back-to-back hands. I wonder if Zoned In is just sort of wrecked here emotionally.
Well,
I might be.
Chance for a triple up here. Not so much anymore.
Gonna need a 3 or a 7 pretty hard.
A 5 or a 6 helps a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, a deuce or an 8 isn't too bad either, really. Of course, Christopher can turn zoned in dead.
Hey, it's a 7.
Oh, there's a 7, but it's a 7 of clubs. But still, obviously, zoned in will take it.
Take it. 3 or an 8, no club, and zoned in gets to stay in this thing.
6 outs. I guess that's not so bad. I guess.
I mean, it doesn't feel good after what you've been through as zoned in. Hey, and now the clubs are going to probably get folded out here. It seems like a likely thing to happen, and then zoned in will have clean club outs.
Yeah, that's true.
Nope, didn't get folded out, and also zoned in has 6 high, so good game. Sorry that we gave you bad luck zoned in.
Man, zoned in, I was like, I'm going to check the replay, see how things went, relive my glory, and it's just 3 straight hands of death.
Yeah.
Zoned in. Sometimes it goes that way, zoned in. Sorry.
Collects $21,000, and we're down to 11 players. First place, by the way, $356,000, so we have a long way to go financially from where we are here.
But a tasty first place, Grant.
Yeah.
But I said tasty.
It's like a chocolate mousse from a fine dining restaurant.
Fresh chocolate mousse.
What is a non-fresh chocolate mousse?
Frozen. You made it a few days ago. Maybe it's been left out.
Yeah, I was obviously not talking about that.
It's degraded into some other non-mousse-like texture and consistency.
Meanwhile, I see your card with the light 3-bet there. Maybe going to try to take this chip lead and run with it a little bit, which we've seen at a couple of the final tables we've done, where we've seen like a chip leader bully. It's been very effective. I don't know if this is the field where it will be as effective. People willing to play a 2,500 6-max usually have a pretty high risk tolerance and are willing to play a lot of hands.
Still, 3-betting a lot works against pretty much the whole world, even good players. Like mostly you back down, right? Mostly you don't. There isn't that many light 4-bets that people have. I gotta believe Ilya is gonna play this.
Yep.
Oh my goodness.
Flops 2 pair and the backdoor flush draw just in case. This is
it for Christopher whomever.
I believe it.
All we have is Christopher.
It is likely to. I mean, still there's outs. There's running board pairs. There's deuces. There's queens, but it's looking grim.
It is looking quite grim. Man, the Canadian Dynamo, Christopher Ellipses, is really in trouble, though.
The Canadian Dynamo, Christopher Ellipses. That sounds like a Canadian TV show that is just like for Canadians to be like, oh, that's nice.
It's our Marvel. It's our Marvel superhero.
It's our Marvel up here.
That card is really good for Christopher, though. That's probably going to save Christopher from certain death. If Ilya just played this fast, but I can understand Ilya not playing it fast in a blind versus blind spot, when you flop top 2. It's like, what is Christopher supposed to have?
Not too many kings in Ilya's range, though. I mean, Ilya has king, jack, king 7, and king deuce suited, and that's about it, because there's no real draw that includes a king that Ilya would have had on the flop, unless there's a lot of floats with king high, which most players don't have too many of those.
I mean, Christopher might be calling the shove that just happened anyway because of the diamonds that came, but you do block the straight draws that you'd really want. I guess 9-10. You don't block 9-10. That's kind of a double gutter that makes sense.
9-10 of diamonds, 8-10 of diamonds, 8-9 of diamonds are all possible to play this way.
Okay.
You wouldn't expect too much else as far as hands you're beating.
You still have, 17 blinds if you fold. It's not automatic here to call. What do you know about this player, Ilya? What will the Canadian Dynamo do? Still have outs, of course, either way, but.
And makes the call. All right. Needs a king, deuce, or queen.
Yeah. Poker Channel says the only out is a counterfeit 2 fair. Well, also the queen for the set, though. But it does not come.
Yep.
And that was a pretty unfair flop.
Yeah, that's what they call that.
A little bit sad.
Hey, they took our players away.
They do that sometimes. I guess they wanted everyone to know about this welcome bonus. Okay. Now
I mean, you got to run a business, I guess.
I guess. They've hijacked our feed a little bit here.
Here we are.
All right.
We are at the 9-handed final table now. And this is what we saw in the first event we did, which we haven't seen since, where in some of these events, the players have kind of a white elephant of picking seats where you can force a player out of their seat and you take their seat. Yeah. But then somebody gets to take your seat if they want to until the final player goes, and it's just luck of the draw as to who gets to go last, I guess.
There's Kristen Bicknell, who is certainly the most decorated of these players.
Yeah, how many bracelets does she have? Did you say she had?
She's won 2 bracelets. She won the ladies event in 2013, and she won a $1,500 Bounty No Limit event in 2016. She, of course, has also won many other events as well. Although she sometimes is sort of talked about or known for her boyfriend, Alex Foxen, who is, it seems like every time I look, is the #1 ranked player, you know. But she in her own right is a top, I would say, 15 player without really, you know, thinking about it in the world, at least in terms of no limit hold'em tournament type play. I don't think I would get much pushback from any top players about that even. So I don't think we need to define her by anyone except her own play. She's that good.
Yeah,
she has all the experience.
She's testing out all the different avatar emoji things too. if you notice that on the stream.
Yep. She's gonna have fun with this, maybe. That'd be nice.
Now, as unbiased commentators, we're not supposed to root for anybody, but I am slightly rooting for Kristen to double up or, you know, accumulate some chips so we can see her operate a little bit in a situation like this.
Absolutely. We're not rooting against the other players, but kind of rooting for Kristen, at least for a little while.
Just for the sake of the quality of the game, man.
Yeah, come on. For the love of the game, man. Poker Channel says the poker guys are top poker commentators and analyzers now that Poke retired. Killing us with kindness, Poker Channel.
I guess I'll take it.
I mean, a little backhanded still, but also I guess it's sweet. Carl Zippel wants everyone to know that time is a flat circle. Last week is soon from some perspectives. From my perspective, Carl. And here we go. They've been playing 6-max the whole time, but Nikita Canlinen with ace-queen suited and a hand that's and not enough stack to get away from it.
Yeah, looks like we're going to have a flip here to start the final table off. Next payout is $29K and first place $356. So hurts to go out first at this final.
Yeah, it sure does. Sort of sucks to have to shove against the undergun range, but ace-queen suit is just too good when you have 12 blinds.
Absolutely.
And Dong makes the call quickly. It says something to me about sort of the experience of these players. I feel like some of the other final tables we've done, that player may have tanked.
Agreed. Sixes just need to hold one card, no 8, 10, queen or ace, and they get there.
Do.
Just like that, down to 8.
Bam.
These players,
so fast.
These players will get more and more comfortable the fewer players there are. Simon Higgins and Bellarmino right now are like, what, am I supposed to play 9-7 off? Am I supposed to play 5 off? I don't remember what part of the range I'm supposed to play under the gun.
Am I supposed to? Is this my calling? My limping range? Do I have a limping range? I haven't played under the gun 8-handed. And Dong now gets the walk. You got the 3 stacks over 4 million, and they are basically sitting right next to each other. Simon Higgins is in between them.
Yeah, there's
Simon Higgins has a. What'd you say?
There's some depth here.
Yeah. Speaking of depth, Kristen Bicknell with queens and Patrick with ace-10 of hearts. Look out.
I don't know what that has to do with depth, but we'll just go with that.
The depth of emotion that these players are going to feel, and the viewers, you know, when this hand takes place. Obviously, it's a weird thing to question, but hey, wow, Kristen bets so much. She just moves in effectively and folds out all the good hands. That's a surprising play.
Perhaps Patrick would have called out of the big blind, or effectively called by moving in, and then she uses the running hot emoji. She's gonna use those things, huh? That's fun.
Yeah, I guess Kristen is just balancing her shove range and not playing exploitatively, with her queens, where she's going to shove a hand like 2 7s and ace-9 there, so she's just basically shoving 2 queens also. She thinks probably this table's a little more skilled than maybe, some tables she's at sometimes where you can hide your strength by a normal raise. She doesn't think that's going to happen here. All right, Bellarmino.
Hey, somebody more educated geographically out there, maybe Jonathan, but maybe one of the viewers knows. What is that flag for Jerome Fink? Because I don't recognize that flag.
I'm pretty sure that's the Nestle logo.
I don't think so. And you just offended many country people somewhere.
Well, just one country's worth of people at least. Pickle says, guys, I never bluff a flop.
It's good to know.
It's important to tell people stuff like that.
If you ever
everyone knows.
If you ever find yourself seated across from a pickle, they're not bluffing on the flop.
That's right. Oh, good times. So Kristen's going to have to defend this. This is just a little too good. And she flops great.
Glip Glop says it's Hong Kong or Macau. Thinks it's Macau for Jerome Fink.
Got it. Thanks, Glip Glop. Butter Popcorn asks, how do you get the hole cards? We're insiders, and so we have a deal with GG Poker where we get the cards up feed. It's a good turn card for Ilya. We're one of only 2 English-speaking channels in the world that gets this cards up feed. So if you want to watch and have, it's Hong Kong. You want to watch with English-speaking commentary, it's us or one other place only, and it's got to be Poker Guys.
It's got to be the Poker Guys.
I mean, come on, everybody. So Bicknell, probably going to have to potentially go for value here. Maybe just check one more time.
I think it's time for value. I think it's like a blocker bet time.
There it is. Ilya has, I guess, what is probably just a call with King Queen.
Nope.
Wow.
Nice fold. Glipglop taking issue with me not using Glipglop's last name, Glipglop McGee. I don't address people by their first and last name. I'm not like, hello, Jonathan Levy. How are you today?
Maybe Glipglop McGee is the first name, Grant. It's incredible. I'm so sorry, Glipglop McGee, that he is so insensitive. Simon Higgins, no action with kings. Pickle wants to know what our total tournament winnings are. Dude, there's a Hendon mob. Look it up, bro.
But that certainly doesn't encapsulate the entirety of it. There's
it's actually really true.
Many off-book earnings.
Yeah. Grant has the biggest score. Grant's gone to a World Series of Poker final table. Here's Paul Barnes with Paul Barnes and Kristen McNeil could get into it here. See if Kristen's. Oh, never mind. No. Paul Barnes is just going to shove it instead.
We got 3 players over 60 big blinds still, so we could see some nuanced play moving forward.
Yeah.
Some of the massive events that they're going to have, like, we did the opener, which was a $100 buy-in. The final table chip leader was like 30 blinds heading in, This is more of a true-to-life World Series of Poker structure.
Yeah, absolutely. More fun this way.
I think Bicknell is destined to lose some chips in this pot against the Queens.
Probably just 120,000 though.
Mostly, yeah.
Like, I don't think Bicknell's doing anything but folding with King 10 off in this spot. It's just doesn't play well enough out of position at her stack depth. Yep.
There is the fold.
Me and Kristen always on the same wavelength,
You guys talk poker a lot?
Here we go. I'd like to make jokes about that, but we have ace, king, and kings, so let's... So she's just going to jam here? She's got less than 20 blinds. I guess she's just going to jam.
I mean, we saw that she doesn't try to mask strength of hand by being unbalanced, so she's probably going to stay balanced, and I think she's going to make it so she has like 150K left, and I think that's why, yeah. Well, she's making it 720 again.
But same idea, right? Like she's obviously all in.
She's just going to need to dodge an ace here because I don't see Bellarmino folding. Yeah. And we could have a huge double up for Kristen Bicknell and have a great player with a ton of chips. And no, we don't.
Sorry,
it is the ace on the flop.
A 5 to chop, though. 5 or a king. That's all she's got. It is not a king.
It's a 5.
It's a 5.
Oh.
Kristen survives.
She stays alive.
Oh, my goodness. That's got to be rough for the other players at the table who know who she is. And, got to be like, not only do you ladder up, you get rid of what is almost certainly the best player at the table. And man, oh man. Wow. It's crazy that online poker can be this exciting, but it can.
Yeah. We're seeing a little speed here from Dong Zhang.
I like it. King nine hearts, not a terrible hand to 3-bet from the cutoff.
Gets the flat. Depends on sizing here. If Dong goes small, might get called or raised. If Dong goes bigger, I think this hand is over in Dong's favor.
That sounds right. Dong almost certainly going to bet. It's probably big enough to get it done, right?
Yeah, half pot.
I think so.
Nope, got called.
But also gets there on the turn with a 9. Takes the
huge
lead.
9.
So Dong probably has a lot of checkbacks here on the turn.
You would think. Dong probably doesn't expect to be ahead that often.
Yeah.
But maybe not expecting to fold out any reasonable ace either.
The thing is now, is Ilya going to feel obligated to bluff? I think it probably so. It looks like you're up against 2 jacks or something, right? Maybe a 10, but like not too many big aces.
There is the bluff. Ooh, this is a big bet too. It's going to be tough.
See, Dong, it's really unlucky. If Dong doesn't hit the 9, Dong may bluff the turn.
Yeah.
And now hitting the 9 may cost Dong this pot. It's crazy how poker works sometimes. Mike Krebs says that the Poke Negreanu grudge match ever actually happens. I hope the poker guys get the commentary gig. So do we.
That would be great.
We would love to do that. Oh, man. We would totally enjoy that.
Now, if it's live, I don't think commentary would be needed because they would just be yelling at each other the whole time, and that would be entertaining enough in itself.
Yeah. It's hard to argue. Dong really thinking about this, but it would take a hero call of massive proportions. Yeah.
Yeah, Ilya could show up with hands like ace 10, ace 7 suited there, we head to break.
Ace jack, ace queen, even. I think ace queen's totally reasonable to just flat the 3-bet when you're one of the chip, when you're up against a chip leader, right there. You don't have to like play for stacks necessarily. Anyway, it's going to be interesting to see now as Ilya takes the chip lead. What's up? Is Ilya going to fight hard and get a lot of 3-bets in there, or sort of sit back and let other people bust? There are a few smaller stacks. Paul Barnes, Kristen Bicknell.
Hard to know. We don't know anything about these players other than Kristen Bicknell.
I have actually Hendon everybody. The next most impressive Hendon mob is Simon Higgins. Bellarmino I did look him up. There's only one Bellarmino de anything in Hendon, so I'm pretty sure it's that guy. He's also Brazilian. He has a little bit of a Hendon mob too, but nothing like live tournament earnings anyway, which is of course all that Hendon tracks, is not super impressive for anyone except for Kristen. Simon Higgins has I think like 350K in wins there, but everyone else is significantly lower than that for all their live tournament winnings. But we are online, and some of these guys may just be online crushers. And they're playing the $2,500 buy-in, right? It seems like they just have to be good. A lot of them to even be willing to play this. So Mr. Paul's Pepperoni Pizza asks, do you ever flop the nuts and get it in real good? Is that like a sexual thing? Is that an innuendo?
Know. I think the pepperoni pizza, the pepperoni pizza part enough is innuendo. Because because pepperoni pizza is a sensual item.
I mean, pepperoni with that grease. I mean, you put a little of that slow jam music going and that pepperoni grease, and I mean that's a whole evening right there.
How did you intonate that? Slow jam music?
That's slow jam music.
That's slow jam
Is that weird?
music? Yeah,
slow jam music, bro.
It's a little weird, but it's okay.
You're a little weird.
All right, so what are you looking for when we resume here? Looking for one of the big stacks to try to take over, or just continued similar play to what we've seen? What do you expect?
I think, well, it's the blinds are going up, right? So I assume we're going to 40K. Oh no, we're restarting. It looks like we're starting at the same level. We start at level 25, so maybe that's not true. That means there's a little bit more room, right? Paul Barnes is the short stack with 16 blinds. So while he does have a good 3-bet shoving stack, he may play a little carefully with Bicknell in a relatively short stack of hers behind him. So I would look for the biggest stacks, especially Bellarmino, actually, who has no big stacks behind him, comparatively anyway, to be making a few more moves against, especially like Dong's opens, maybe even Simon's opens. How about you? What are you looking for?
Well, that seems about right to me. I was thinking of similar things. I'm wondering if Bicknell has another gear that she turns on at certain points, but it's tough to do when you don't have the chips. So
Yeah.
maybe if those kings had not been a chop and held, we would have seen something else. But I guess historically watching her play, we haven't really seen a ton of evidence of her trying to bully the table, just her making, good poker plays instead.
The one thing I can remember is the WPT hand where she was at the final table and she raised from the small blind and Joe Chong defended the big blind, and Kristen, I think, flopped absolutely nothing and bet and Chong called. Then she turned to gutter and she bet and he called. Then she rivered a pair, but she thought it was no good, so she bet huge on the river. And Chong called with a slightly worse hand, like one pair, like fourth pair instead of third pair, and lost a monster pot. And she was clearly bluffing, but it worked out. And so she definitely was trying to push him around that time, but that's only one hand, of course.
Yeah.
So Butter Popcorn asked if we can commentate a hand like we are Mike Sexton and Vince Van Patten, and Aaron Jones seconds that suggestion. That's a really interesting idea, Grant.
I mean, we've done it. We've done it on our other show, Poker Time, before. Not sure if this is the time or the place, but I really want to do it.
It's the time and the place. We are definitely doing that. Are you kidding?
I am reluctant.
Are we afraid of offending?
I'm reluctant.
This is happening.
I'm reluctant, but happy to do it.
Great.
Hey, of note, I just noticed. I imagine these VPIPs that we're getting, which are the numbers to the left of the players' avatars, are for the entire tournament because we wouldn't have had enough hands to generate some of these numbers. Mm-hmm. And Paul Barnes made it to this final table, VPIPing only 14% in a 6 max. That's
a really good point. Look at everybody else comparatively. Interestingly enough, Bicknell at 24%. So she's just got her ranges. She's playing her ranges, and maybe she didn't feel a need to be exploitative, or maybe she's just playing her game and not worrying about it. But either way, that is a really good thing to point out. Paul Barnes seemingly going to play tighter than the rest of the table, and these guys, like especially Bellarmino, should be taking advantage of that. Should be raising his blind every time, probably any 2 cards.
Yeah.
Simon Higgins also should be opening from the cutoff into Paul Barnes' big blind. Everyone really should be opening a Paul Barnes blind more until Paul shows a willingness to fight back.
Now, I could be wrong, and the VPIP could be like a rolling hour or something, rather than the whole tournament.
But even if it's a rolling hour, 14 is pretty low. I mean, obviously it's possible you could just be card dead for an hour, but it's online. You get a lot more hands. Anyway, we're back.
Tournament resumes now, says the tournament.
Let's see how tight Paul. Oh yeah, see Paul Barnes folds that hand. 5-6 off. UTG.
It's tighter than not playing it, or than playing it. I said that massively incorrectly.
Yeah. Yes, you did. And we as not just me, but the internet is disappointed.
That's okay.
Yeah.
The internet also disappoints me. Hey, we got the deuce 7 call out of the big blind and whacks a deuce on the flop. Just slaps it.
Still probably can only call one street unless some extra equity shows up on the turn.
Right. I mean, there are some cards that Simon Higgins will probably shut down on. That is one that Simon Higgins will check back on very likely, but of course, now is ahead.
Has to check this back. I mean, I don't know about it has to. It seems hard to imagine not. There we go. And Simon Higgins all set up to bluff catch here.
And is that a bluff? Or is that trying to get called by ace high?
I think it's trying to get called by ace high, but what are you supposed to have that ace high would call when the 5 comes on the river and the spade comes on the turn? I think that's an ill-advised bluff.
Aaron Jones.
Or value bet. Excuse me. It's an ill-advised value bet, I should say. It's not a bluff. I think it's a value bet. Is it a merge, Grant?
I don't know.
Bet that doesn't know what it wants?
But it worked.
It says players can't see the numbers on the left. Can they? Ask Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones, we believe they can.
Yeah.
I'm almost sure they can. Actually, I'm going to look into that right now. But those numbers are there for everyone to see. So
GG expects that players are using HUDs to a certain extent, so they just give them a little bit of HUD and don't allow HUDs, basically.
Right, they don't allow HUDs. That's the deal. So Bicknell's got a hand that she could absolutely shove here.
Against a button open, certainly. Just calls. Gets not the greatest flop.
Not really, no. Not even one heart. The only heart Kristen Bicknell has is the one beaten in her chest.
Hey, there's a 6 for Kristen. That'll make her feel a little bit better in case Jerome had ace high. I'm a little bit surprised not to see Jerome take a shot on that flop with Kristen.
I think Jerome
stacked
doesn't
up.
want to get. Yeah, I think Jerome's worried about the check raise all in, and then you don't get to realize your equity with the queen jack.
Yeah. Ooh, jack on the river.
That's how you realize your equity.
Well, Kristen probably won't be betting. I don't think Jerome's going to go for value. Do you?
I think Jerome will go for value.
Nope. Quick check.
Oh, you're right. You're right. Try and get called by a 9 or worse jack. Jack 10 you can beat. Jack 7 you can beat. Aaron Jones agrees with me. Thinks it's a weird check back. I feel you, Aaron Jones. I think it's a weird check back. But Grant likes it. Or Grant expected it.
I expected it. I'm not sure if I like it.
Okay. Fair enough.
Based on the flop check, I expected it, basically.
Right. Well, Paul Barnes has a pretty good hand, and that VPIP may be going up shortly.
I guess we'll see how true that 12% is now.
I mean, he better play this hand. Otherwise, I'm coming to get him.
Like, to harm him?
To shove it. Doesn't shove.
Well, now he might get shoved on and have to fold. That's going to suck.
Maybe
oh, no, Bicknell just folds.
That VPIP has got to scare everyone, right?
Yeah.
Like, how do you not give him respect? He never plays a hand.
Well, he does get shoved on anyway by the big stack.
Boy, this is really going to hurt. I think Paul Barnes is probably going to fold.
Oh, he calls.
Oh. Wow. This hand plays so much better as just a shove than if you're going to call the shove.
Well, he's got the gut shot in 2 overs, and he gets there.
It all worked out anyway. It was the best case scenario. That was a weird way to play that hand, though, I got to say.
Well, it was the only way he was going to double up.
Yeah.
So
I assume that's true. I assume Ilya was not going to call with the ace deuce. Snapshot would call that, but against Paul Barnes, 14 VPIP, probably not.
Probably not. Ilya's got the only real hand this time. 2 jacks in the small blind.
Hoping for a steal attempt. There it is. He gets to punish.
Now, if Dong is a frequent 3-better, maybe Ilya should flat. Let Dong put in the 3-bet and try to move it in. No, makes a 3-bet himself. What do you think of about that idea?
I mean, I don't completely hate it. I don't love it as much from the small blind, where when Dong is getting such a good price to call with everything, you're going to be 3-handed a lot out of position to both players, as opposed to like cutoff opens, you call on the button where you're going to position at least, and you got 2 guys who might 3-bet. So I like it a little better cutoff to button. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree, but I don't know. We've seen Dong 3-bet, but I guess if he's going to flat ace 10 out of the small blind, maybe he's not that frequent of a 3-better. So maybe he's not the candidate. And look at this. Ilya with top 2.
Small bet incoming.
Nothing for Dong here. Probably just a fold. Oh, big bet. That's a big bet.
That's surprising. I mean, I know the board's a little wet, but I'm surprised on a king high. I mean, okay, there's some gut shots, but not that many calls. Anyway, it all worked out. Got a few pretty good hands here. King Jack in a few places. Paul Barnes here. Paul Barnes feeling a little saucy now.
Feeling alive for the very first time.
It's like Matt Damon in Rounders, like in the first half hour of Rounders, when he tells what's her name? I can't remember her name now.
His girlfriend that is he said the very wrong thing to. Anyway,
she was very upset about that.
Got an open ender for Paul Barnes.
Paul Barnes can really continue here, but chooses not to. It is that calling range. This doesn't really smack Ilya's calling range too much either.
A little surprised to see Paul Barnes not continue.
Maybe he's check raising.
Take a shot. Check raise would make some sense.
I kind of don't think he's going to, though. I think he's just going to call with that 12 VPIP. Yeah. It's probably going to go check here a lot. I guess Ilya could just keep firing, though.
Ilya bet very small on the flop, maybe anticipating a lot of calls, expecting to have to bet the turn. Yeah. This is probably more Ilya's board than Barnes' board.
Well, when Ilya checks back, though, Ilya does not have a super strong range, and Paul Barnes has to decide, is ace high no kicker good enough?
Seems unlikely when Ilya checks back the turn.
What are you supposed to get, though? Were you trying to fold out a 3 or I mean, what else are you trying to fold out here?
The type of hand Ilya has, I suppose. That's what Paul's going for.
Yeah, it's like just better ace highs, really, because I think like 2 7s is calling on this river, especially for 191,000.
That's a great call by Ilya. I think the 6 was a very bad card to bet because it's a likely holding for Ilya to play exactly that way. So it doesn't really make sense for Paul Barnes to even play an overpair that way. It seems like if Barnes had played an overpair that way to that point, it's then a pretty simple check on the river and mostly call when Ilya bets rather than betting yourself.
Yeah, I agree. The story was not ideal.
Bicknell loves this really this cheeky almost all in thing.
Well, it's going to get through. Now back to 15, actually 16 blinds. And we have another button and small blind potential confrontation here.
You could go either way here at this stack depth as Jerome. Flatting is fine. 3-betting is a little scarier. You expect to get called or 4-bet a little too frequently by players who are in this type of event.
With this sizing, I agree with you. This sizing, though, makes it a little tougher for Bellarmino to call.
Yeah, the 4X.
Yeah.
I like the 4X
size for that reason. Yeah, like I've been watching old EPTs and everyone's, 1.3xing from the small blind and stuff like that, as a 3-bet.
Well, because it worked back then. And back in 2010, it worked. Yeah. P.S. Hines won the main event by 3-betting opens to 1 million to 1.8 million,
Yeah, I know. It was incredible. What a time to be alive.
Yeah. He then retired from poker because he knew that was it. It wasn't going to get any better than that.
Yeah, you might be right. Paul Barnes with a hand that he could absolutely open here, but that 12 VPIP says nuh-uh.
Maybe also
because probably just going to shove this, right?
Maybe also because of Bicknell's stack. Barnes didn't want to open. Interesting that Bicknell doesn't do the weird thing this time. Just goes for the actual all-in.
She may have just forgotten to, Boy, if it folds all the way to Patrick here, yep, it does. We could absolutely see a big-time confrontation right now. These guys could get into it. Patrick with the limp. Got to be limp re-raising, right?
Probably. They are 40 blinds effective, which is a semi-awkward stack size for that with King-Queen.
Yeah. It's true. There's the raise. I guess Patrick could just call.
It's a hand that plays well post-flop.
Yeah,
but not on that flop.
Patrick may be saving his tournament, though, with this, deciding to play it passively pre-flop. Even if he wants to call once here. Chooses not to. Definitely could have called once, though.
Could have. Oh, Mike. You see Bellarmino here with the 2 7s. What do you think? What do you think about this raise? Old cheeky little min raise here.
Well, Vince, the 2 7s, or as we like to call them, the walking sticks, are.
Oh my goodness!
They're all set. They're
Christian
all set.
Bicknell is folded, and Patrick has called. I don't understand.
Oh, look at this! Wow. By the way, let's just
let's stop.
Top pair for 2 players in a set.
This is a big hand. We're not going to do it like Mike and Vince. Maybe another time.
We'll pick another hand. Yeah. Oh man,
what do you think about Patrick calling the button with 9-10 off? That was strange, right?
I mean, it's hard for me to find any way to defend it. Honestly, it's bizarre.
Dong puts in a raise, and this is music to Bellarmino's ears right here. This is a beautiful spot for the set of 7s.
This is probably just a call, though, right? Like, what is Dong supposed to be able to call a re-raise with?
Yeah, I mean, there's multiple open-enders to protect against.
Yeah. But now, this is just going to fold out Dong, right?
You'd expect Dong can't continue, even though the price is incredible. Like, you have very few ways to improve this hand. You have to turn trips. He does call.
Oh, and he turns open-ended.
Wow. This could get real dirty if Dong wins this hand. Life is not fair if Dong wins this hand.
Dong has less than a pot left. This should be getting in right now.
Well,
how can you fold
step
now?
1. Well, the open-ender only gets there, 16% of the time at this point.
Yeah. If you're Dong, you gotta think you're up against a fair amount of overpairs, not so many sets of 7s, just because they're just way more combos of overpairs. And if that's the case, your 8s and 9s are alive too. Oh man, Dong really stepped in it and has
folds.
To fold. Wow, you get one of the best cards on the turn you could get, actually, especially from an equity point of view, like one of the very, very best cards, and folds. Jeez, that's devastating.
And I don't know about the overpairs. Maybe I don't know anything about Bellarmino, but 3-betting the flop doesn't seem like a thing an overbear would do. It's more of a bluff or a 2-pair plus type thing.
Yeah. No, that's true. That's true. Especially they were 3-handed at that point. So it's pretty unlikely we would have actually seen that. So that was a kind of a whack hand.
Huge hand for Bellarmino. And now we're getting the C-bet into the good top pair of Simon Higgins.
No need to raise here, Simon. It's not a very wet board. Don't want to chase away your action. Yep. And perfect. Perfect card for Simon on the turn. Kind of dreamy. Going to get another street of value most likely on the river. Unless Patrick decides to bet. Wow.
Oh. This is brutal. This might be the end for Patrick. I don't know. Maybe Simon doesn't check raise. Maybe just calls depending on sizing.
Sizing, yeah. And Patrick's going to be in a weird spot. Oh, that small? He might get check raised.
Just called.
Wow, that could have gone a lot of different ways, man. That could have gone a lot worse for Patrick.
Poker Channel's asking how many minutes is the delay so Don can see his fold. It's a half-hour delay.
So Dong is seeing it now if Dong's paying attention. Like, you can finally see it. Like, obviously, because you guys can see it. But yeah, it took a half an hour. Pickle asks, what are the 14-12 numbers? Those are the VPIPs for each player because HUDs are not allowed. HUDs, of course, heads-up displays, which are little overlays that players use when they play online to get all sorts of stats on their opponents. Man, we've seen... there could have been so much more blood at this table. Kristen McNell, rivers the straight to stay alive. Dong could have absolutely called off there 2 hands ago. Patrick could have gone bust last hand. I mean, geez.
Well, we see Bellarmino flopping well again here. And in the last hand that we kind of talked over, Ilya opening, Bellarmino 3-bet big out of the big blind with king 10 off, maybe trying to leverage the big stack versus big stack dynamic and say like, hey, do you really want to do this when we're the big stacks? You sure you want to make that mistake right now when there are these short stacks around here?
I like that kind of stuff, man.
Yeah.
I like watching people play hyper aggressive. Situationally hyper aggressive, I should say.
Paul Barnes could shove here for sure.
Yeah. It's pretty reasonable. The problem is Jerome Fink's range is actually relatively strong, but it's like king queen. It's a lot of king queens and king jacks and stuff, I guess, but does have reasonable aces and reasonable pocket pairs too.
Well, we won't get to see what would have happened. I wonder if Jerome would have called or folded because that's a pretty close spot with ace 10.
Yeah. I agree. I think you're supposed to call when you're just flat there. You're sort of inducing a little bit.
Yeah, it just feels crappy. It feels real crappy to put in money with ace 10, having never put in an aggressive action, never had fold equity, and you're putting in 20 blinds.
Bellarmino could have been 3-bet by either the small blind or the big blind. Instead gets to win chips from both of them. That's a pretty good deal.
Pickle's asking about the numbers between the VPIP and flag. That is their time bank remaining, which builds up over the course of the tournament. I guess none of these players have really used any time bank.
I would guess that they got a brand new time bank once they got to the final table of 15 minutes.
Maybe so.
They're too close to each other otherwise.
Yeah.
All right, well, this is one of those nobody really has anything spots. We know Paul Barnes isn't playing.
Jerome Fink folded the Jack-9 suited there, perhaps because of the stacks in the blinds.
Yeah, like Kristen especially is going to not be afraid to shove. But all 3 of those players could be going for it now.
Kind of handcuffed.
Up to 80,000.
Kind of handcuffed is Jerome. You can't open that wide because you have all of the shove stacks directly on your left.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, a walk with
a little
queens.
Heartbreaking there. The chip player, well, not the chip player, second in chips. Any of those players could have shoved right into your queens, but not today. What do we say to the god of death, Grant?
Tomorrow.
No.
Please tomorrow, sir.
Grant's having a rough week, guys.
No 3-bet with the ace-5 from Ilya. Instead, we see a flop heads up, which is pretty good for Dong. And really good for Dong, as it's also top pair for Patrick.
Patrick trying to just call here, I assume. And Dong's going to get another street of value most of the time. Like, how can you not call any reasonable size bet here?
Oh,
you just have to call.
That's very callable.
I mean, you're beating value for sure. You're beating worse kings, maybe even some queens that are blocker betting. Well, Patrick somehow is still in this tournament. It's sort of amazing, considering some of the cards that have come down on turns and rivers.
Yeah.
For him, just at this final table. He's probably going to be shoving here. There it is.
Going to be getting it through. No problem.
Yep. I noticed none of these players are clamoring for the big blind ante now, Grant. What's that about? Oh, they love it so much live, and now they don't care.
You might have to explain yourself. It's not such an obvious joke.
So everyone knows about the big blind ante, of course, and it's great when you play live because it speeds everything up. People don't screw up the antes. It's just better in every respect, really. And of course, you don't have to do that online because the software automatically takes it for you. They just take, in this case, 10K from each player, and it's automatic. No one can screw it up, so there's no reason for a big blind ante. There you go. I explained it. Look at all these hands, by the way.
Yeah.
I guess that's going to fold out the small pairs.
And the queen jack. It's going to fold everything out. It's a huge shove.
Yeah.
It's over 30 bigs.
Yep. This is the, I don't really know how else to play this hand. I don't want to have to call a shove against 2 9s. I'm going to shove and make you fold. That's fair.
Yeah.
30 blinds is like just the very, very edge of a reasonable 3-bet shoving stack. A little outside it for me, but certainly good players will do that. Paul Barnes got to shove this one.
Yeah,
right?
This has to be a confrontation we're about to see. Bellarmino probably is going to be forced into a call with this hand.
I think so. It's 11 blinds? 12 blinds?
12 blinds. I mean, it's button versus
Paul Barnes?
Maybe you can fold against this guy, but mostly button versus big blind, especially in a tournament like this, you make this call.
Oh, yeah. Normally this is a call.
He does make the call, and we're flipping.
Bellarmino does call. It's a pretty good outcome for Bellarmino to see. Oh, well, even better now the king comes out. But just to be flipping is pretty great for Bellarmino.
No clubs for anybody. Yeah. Needs a 6
Last
to stay
chance.
alive.
We've seen some crazy rivers, but no, it's the 10 of hearts. And down goes Paul Barnes. Oh, Kristen, I think she's trying to be friendly, but it looks a little sarcastic.
Well, how can you help it looking sarcastic when the thing looks like that?
I understand. I'm just saying. From Paul Barnes' point of view, I'm not sure how much he's loving it. You know? All right, so money jumps are starting getting a little interesting, and for some of these players, I think it does matter looking at their hand ins. We're now at a $20,000 money jump.
Yeah, pretty serious. Phil Holden asks if we recommend any poker books. Hell yeah, we do. We wrote a book. It's called How Can You Fold? I think the link is in the description of this video. You can actually just click that and go grab it there, or you can get it on Amazon. It's a great book.
I mean, it's got incredible reviews. It's got great reviews on Amazon because it is actually really a great book. There are many other great poker books as well, though. What comes to mind right now? I'm actually reading The Intelligent Poker Player by Philip. Oh, I can't remember his name, and I'm not going to go run to see it. But that's a pretty good book. It's pretty. It's more about limit hold'em though, so no one cares except for me.
What is that?
I mean, classic.
What is that book about the smooth edges that you love so much?
Oh yeah, Poker's 1%. That's Ed Miller. That's a great book. I also really like Winning Poker Hands, Winning Poker Tournaments One Hand at a Time by.
Hey, we're gonna have it all in. We're gonna have it all in
are?
here. It looks like Bicknell's probably gonna move in.
Stuff.
And she's going to get called by Jerome Fink if Simon Higgins doesn't isolate.
I can't imagine Simon Higgins is going to isolate. Once he has under the gun plus one, it's quick fold.
Just
Jerome
one
Fink's
time.
going to have to call this one.
Oh, Bellarmino is making life
What?
super easy on Kristen. Oh, my goodness. This could really save her.
Like, this is shocking. Jerome Fink can't call now.
Absolutely cannot call. I just feel an ace or a queen on the flop right now after Jerome Fink folds. I absolutely feel it.
Bellarmino is basically saying, though, I need Kristen to have like a big ace here and I'm flipping, and I need Jerome not to have a good enough hand to call with. And now what is Bellarmino feeling as Jerome is in the tank and not folding right away?
Folds.
Does get the fold.
It is Bellarmino, by the way, not Bellarmino.
Oh, okay. Bellarmino, you're right. And there's the queen as predicted.
Yep.
Wow, Kristen Bicknell.
And an ace. What
Kristen
a
Bicknell.
deal.
Unless it's a
deuce. Unless it's a deuce. It's a 4.
What an unbelievable gift. Kristen Bicknell. By the way, Simon Higgins also. That's right. Jerome Fink does not want to show.
That was a double up plus that was just gifted by Bellarmino by making a strange play. Honestly, quite a strange play.
Yeah, I feel like I see sometimes some players make that in big tournament spots. I'm thinking of a World Series event I played where I saw a player do something like that, and they sort of justify it by saying, "I'm trying to win the tournament here." When the table was like, "Why did you do that?" It was actually I think it was pocket fours in a spot where it's like, I was under the gun, I raised, and under the gun +1 re-raised, and I was clearly going with my hand. We were going to be, and the guy just moved in with pocket fours behind us both, and it was very strange. And I had it was ace, king, queens, and pocket fours, and pocket fours was out immediately, and he talked shit as he left the table. It was very strange.
Well, Bellarmino, I don't know. Like, I just feel the reason not to do it is more that the deuces just don't do well against Kristen's range there.
No, also, Jerome Fink opened under the gun and absolutely has some real hands.
No, Bellarmino opened under the gun. Jerome Fink flatted +1.
With deuces?
No, Bellarmino opened with deuces, yeah. Jerome Fink flatted with ace queen +1, and then Bicknell moved in. Simon Higgins was in the big blind with ace jack.
I thought Bellarmino was in the big blind this whole time.
Nope.
Oh, that screws up all my analysis of the hand. Still, doing that with deuces does seem crazy.
Jerome taking a shot here, but Bellarmino has turned a pair. Is not having any of it.
Will Jerome fire again? Another barrel probably gets through.
It's tough to rep an ace. You're repping basically just a 7, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You're repping a 7. When check, and Bellarmino checked again, you can have 7s here. And be trying to get value out of a bad 7 or a 6. You really can't beat any value here as Bellarmino. I guess we block a straight as Jerome Fink also with the 3. So you got that going for you?
Yes.
But that can't be you can't be thinking too much about that.
Makes
and
the
there's
call.
The call. Wow, Jerome Fink probably pretty upset about the way the last 2 hands have gone down with that ace queen, which would have been huge.
I mean, it would have been enormous. A full double plus Bicknell stack.
Yeah, no, Jerome Fink would be the chip leader, right? I mean,
it would be close.
Nearly the chip leader.
I think it would be close, but yeah. Now, I believe Kristen will be defending this with 20 blinds out of the big blind.
Absolutely, have to. Just have to.
Not much for Kristen there.
She does have 2 back doors, but I think she's just way too short and out of position to even consider doing anything but letting it go.
Dong bet very fast on that flop. Did you notice that? Just as soon as checked him.
Yeah.
Just like, it's hard to put the number in that quick even when you're playing online poker.
So coming back to Phil Holden's question, winning poker tournaments one hand at a time. It's by Ape Styles, Risen, and John Turner, Pearl Jammer. That's definitely they wrote 3 books, and they're kind of old now. They're probably like 6, 7, 8 years old, but I really like those books for poker tournament stuff. Let's see, we don't really have anything happening on this flop.
Got some back doors.
The Poker Guy's book, How Can He Fold, is a wonderful book as we delve into, 37 different tournament hands.
Mm-hmm.
We break it down one at a time, look at big mistakes, incredible plays, with our trademark humor and rapport. All right, enough of that. Enough shilling.
All right, Bellarmino, by the way, really opening up the ranges, trying to play big stack bully. It's nice to see somebody do it.
Yeah.
This is a bad flop for 9s, and I think a c-bet will likely get through.
A small c-bet will get called once.
Whoa.
Oh, that's not a small c-bet.
Holy
moly.
This is like old school big stack bully. Like, do you want to do this, buddy? Like, serious stuff with this sizing.
Yeah, he's like, you see Patrick's stack? Like, you've got a big stack. Stay out of my way. Yeah, this is great. Let's see Bellarmino try and take over and see what happens. I love this stuff. Open ender for Simon.
And Jerome has the same open ender with a pair.
Simon not going to take a shot 3 ways. Checks around, and Simon or Jerome could be betting now.
I expect the Bellarmino will be the one that bets though.
Yeah.
Nope. Checks
does
instead.
not. If Jerome checks again, I guess just in, get to showdown mode, and it's almost certainly going to work out here. I think Jerome can call a bet from either player. This is the guy you'd least like to call a bet from?
Yeah.
Simon has more kings. Simon absolutely has kings still in his range. The clubs come in also. Maybe this isn't an easy spot. Bellarmino would be an easy call for Jerome, I think, but... Ugh. What do you think? What would you do in Jerome's seat?
I think Simon could absolutely have a queen as played, which troubles me.
Yes, kings, queens, and clubs.
Yeah, so I think it's fine to fold there.
Yeah.
I'm not noticing those VPIP numbers change pretty rapidly, so it's got to be some sort of rolling thing, maybe every 20 or 30 minutes. So maybe not as tight as we thought that guy.
Yeah, maybe you're right.
Paul Barnes.
You're right.
Let's see if Bellarmino wields the big stack here with a shove.
It's a good time to do it. The stack sizes line up. There it is. And I doubt Jerome's going to call, but he did see the deuces play.
He does call.
He does call. I think this is because of the ace-queen hand that he calls here.
Gets there.
Flops well. It's got to feel so good to get there after that other hand.
Until the 8 on the river?
Devastating. It's not fair. It could be. It's not. It was a spade. Spades is a good start to be an 8. It was a 3-spotter even. I mean, that's kind of amazing. But big double up for Jerome.
All right, Simon's going to have to 4-bet shove if Bellarmino 3-bets. But Bellarmino does not. Maybe Bellarmino's wings have been clipped a bit by that hand against Jerome.
Yeah. It's not a great time to 3-bet because it looks like you might be a little tilty, a little angry, whatever. So I like Bellarmino not getting cute there.
Yeah. Nice little min bet from Simon on this board. I kind of love it.
Yeah, me too. It's pretty awesome.
All right, it's go time for Patrick, and I imagine Jerome Fink will be getting it in with him.
I don't see how Jerome can fold, assuming Bellarmino folds.
Would be optimistic to assume ace-8 was the right hand there, and
Agreed.
8s, though, a little different.
8s are an easy shove. And here we go. Trying to go 2 for 2 with flips. Nope. Going to be tough now. And one last chance.
Mike, when you're at the table like this and you see 2 hands in a row, 2 all-ins, 2 big-time hands, big-time players playing these big-time hands, and you see both times the snowmen lose both times. Do you think, maybe next time I'm not going to play the snowmen? Maybe next time the snowmen aren't for me. Is that what you think, Mike?
Well, Vince, you can't discount how the cards are running and what's hot and what isn't. And it's crazy to believe that you can just you can climb Mount Olympus without a Sherpa, and so
that's why Mom used to say.
Ace just aren't going to bring you up the mountain right now, and you have to know that. You have to recognize that, Vince.
It's great advice, Mike. Thank you. That's for you Mike and Vince fans. And looks like Bicknell might get a double or an opportunity for a double if Ilya decides to shove here. But just calls.
Bicknell could bet to deny equity, could check back because, hard to get too much value.
Does check back, does get a semi-nightmarish card, although it does give her a combo draw.
Yeah, it's not so bad at all. Butter Popcorn liked the Mike and Vince thing.
Yeah.
I think we kind of nailed that one. I think we did that one. We're a little up and down with those. That was one of our better ones.
We've done better, but it was not bad. Self-assessment is key.
Kristen, once again, interesting spot.
Well,
checks into the flush.
She makes a flush now. Probably won't be folding unless Ilya moves her in. Then maybe she'll consider it.
She has the third nuts. It's hard to imagine her folding. It's for any reasonable sizing here. I would expect Ilya's probably going to take a shot here. Would think that Kristen's betting a lot of clubs, but doesn't try.
So Kristen's going to go for some small sizing here, right?
Yeah.
Like 120.
Trying to get called either by a 9 or, even though she blocks 9s, or a baby club. I think you just got to go for some value, right?
Sucks to get shoved on, but it's tough to bluff here too if you're Ilya. Yeah. So it can be a comfortable bet fold, and instead Kristen just gets to take the pot.
Yep. She had the best hand on every street. Seems fair. Kristen up to 20 blinds.
She's been here. She's been here before, and she went down a little bit. A little surprised to see Dong not call out of the big blind with Jack 9 off for the min raise.
Yeah, me too.
Shows the power
to do it.
Shows the power of what Bellarmino is doing here by opening a lot. I mean, if people are going to fold for min raises with reasonable hands like that out of the big blind, it's hyper profitable to open a ton of hands.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he's also making it 160 and winning 190 to do it. I mean, it's really, really good stuff. Simon, though, does defend with the Jack 9, although it's not going to work out.
Quite a bad flop for the Jack 9 off, no clubs. Could see Kristen going either way on this flop.
Yeah, this is a reasonable check back because of the clubs, but she wants to protect. You know, I'm curious to know. I doubt we're going to find out. I'm curious if Simon actually made a play at her here, if she would hang on or not with top pair.
I would guess not. That would be my... And Simon does make a play. Wow.
Wow, we're going to find out. I mean, he's basically repping a flush only, right? I mean, this is one of her better hands that she has.
This is kind of, it feels like a bit of a random move. Maybe Simon thinks there's a sizing tell, but there's no combinatorial reason I can find. Bicknell's done nothing but show speed so far the hand, and Bicknell does make the call.
I mean, now she's losing to ace 3 or a flush. That's it, right? King 3, ace 3 or a flush. She's beating everything else or chopping with everything else. I don't see her folding here.
Well, she doesn't block the flush at all.
But she doesn't block one club either. I mean,
she does make the call. Ooh.
Oh,
this
now,
might
Simon
work.
Picks up a little showdown value, but he does have to shove to win. He's got to know it. He gives up because he hits the jack, and she's gonna. I gotta believe she's checking this back, right?
Maybe she thinks she has to bluff, try to get him off a baby flush just in case.
Well, I think she's just got enough showdown value. She just doesn't have to do that, but maybe. What if he's checking with the 10 of clubs in his hand, though, like to call? He can afford to do it. I think she's got to check it back. But she knows way more about this spot than I do, even though I can see the cards. So I will acknowledge that. So if she bets, I'm sure it's right. Look, she's taking a really long time. I think she's actually trying to decide because it's so close.
Yep, I think so.
Like bluff or check back and take your showdown value. It is hard for her probably to come up with hands that she can beat. Right?
I mean, she can beat this is all she can beat is a random pure bluff that gives up on the 4th club.
She can beat the gut shot on the flop that didn't have a club in its hand. The queen, jack, and jack 10.
Yeah.
But Kristen really chips up there.
Did you see
she's
that
in 4th place?
Dong just folded king 10 on the button. I think this is the Bellarmino effect. I think Dong expects that Bellarmino's going to come after him. Maybe he's right and he is not willing to go with king 10. I think that's what happened.
That seems crazy to me. Like you can min raise and fold if you have to, but you got to have a lot of evidence that Bellarmino's going after you.
Well, let's see if
Bellarmino goes after
Simon.
Yeah,
this would be evidence, and it would be very bad timing, but no.
It's too bad for Simon. He just lost a pot. He got caught bluffing, and you think people might take a shot at him when he has the nuts, but no go. We know Bellarmino's open in this one.
Yeah, and we know Kristen is likely defending. I mean, I guess you could have some 3 bets here, but mostly defending, right?
Oh, yeah.
Flops well.
I think so. Bellarmino flops okay, too, though.
Yeah, gutter.
With the overcard. Bellarmino might bet just to play like power poker here. It's like, who cares about story? Who cares about ranges? Obviously, Kristen never folding. Probably never raising. Good card for her.
Yeah, and kind of a bad card for Bellarmino's story if he decides to continue.
Yeah. She could lead, actually, but it would just be a denial. Denying equity lead, and that would have been important. But
that would have worked. Well. That would have worked out better, yeah.
Wow, Bellarmino can bet for value, too, if she checks a 3rd time.
Yeah, maybe something like $275K.
Yeah.
Smallish bet.
With her hand, she's probably going to have to call with her hand. She can actually she can chop with the 10s. She can't actually, I don't know. Would he bet a 7 on the river? I don't think he would.
Wow, he goes big. This guy is about big sizing.
Yeah. So the question Kristen has to ask herself, is he repping the king or does he have the king? Because that's what we're sort of down to at this point. He's not doing this with ace 10, right? 535 on the river, I don't believe.
Seems highly unlikely. I mean, Bicknell doesn't have too many kings in range other than king 7 and king 10.
Yeah.
She does make the call.
Ooh. Yeah. I guess she just thought it was possible he was trying to rip the big card. It's
nice
reasonable.
Value.
It's a reasonable call there. I think she probably has to call that based on where she is in her distribution. Like a good 10 is almost as good as it gets, like you were saying.
It was nice value by Bellarmino. And this is strange from Dong, opening the ace-9 off, early position, having folded the king-10 off on the button. And now he's getting punished for it. the exact way that he feared when he didn't open the king-10.
Yep. Bellarmino is just now owning this table. Look at the chip stacks. Almost twice as much as the next person, Illa. This is incredible. Still 7 players, though. Long way to go for Bellarmino. But things are lining up nicely right now.
Simon Higgins folding the ace-10 off under the gun.
So Dong is here. 25 blinds. Just shoves it.
That's fine. It's a fine thing to do.
Yeah, I think so. Especially it's 20 blinds effective. I think it's a pretty straightforward shove. It's hard to play out of position post-flop most of the time. Artur Gorecki asks, what happened? And we're not sure what you're referring to. Many things have happened, Artur.
Yes.
You got to be a little more specific. many, many things. It's been a wild final table so far. Simon could call or could shove this.
I expect a call. This feels like a natural call with 17 bigs.
It flops so well. And a gut shot and a backdoor. If this is a small bet, Simon can call once. If it's a very small bet.
It is a very small bet.
I think you probably have to call for 1.3 blinds. Still have 15 left. There it is.
Now
it's open-ended.
Ooh, interesting.
Uh-oh.
Ilya might check this back too. Might give a free card.
Yeah. Just because of the lack of kicker. No. Well, Simon's got a decision right here. It's basically shove or fold.
Shove would be a very interesting play. Repping 2-pair or better.
I don't hate a shove. I mean, Ilya opened from the button and just bet twice. Wow,
just calls and misses.
Ooh, that feels like a big mistake.
Whiffs the river
really,
there.
If he shoves right now, he's just playing it passively the whole way and takes a tough loss.
Down to 10
possible
bigs.
Simon thought? Yeah, now 10, or 11. Is it possible Simon thought Queen High might be good once in a while because it's the button range of Ilya?
Possible.
So maybe that played into the call a little bit.
Hey, meanwhile, Kristen's got aces.
Pretty good. Patrick with Jack 10. Is Kristen just going to do the shove play, though? Or she bets?
Nope.
No,
but the Jack 10 folds.
Sizing. That's unlucky.
That is pretty unlucky.
She did choose exploitative sizing. She chooses exploitative sizing with aces.
Probably because it's Bellarmino's big blind, and she expects a lot of shoves from him.
That is really smart. That makes a lot of sense. Bellarmino might just jam here.
Nope. Limps it.
Probably
surprised
better.
to not see Jerome just jam it there.
Agreed. I wonder if Jerome's centers went off because Bellarmino didn't take an aggressive action pre when he's got all the chips and it'd be so easy to. He's afraid he was up against a monster.
Could be.
I would be a little worried about that if I've seen this guy just pushing everyone around for a while. This could line up really well for Kristen.
Well, it'll line up to 200K because she's not getting any more than that, but that's nice. It's a nice little bonus.
There's 434K in the pot. I mean, that's pretty sweet.
I mean, 200K extra versus if she'd gotten a walk.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. Just one time, says Kristen. Nice to see her having fun. Assuming she's having fun. I'm in my head, she's having fun with all this. So here's Bellarmino.
3Xing it now.
3Xing, yeah. Interesting. Weird.
New strategy, perhaps, just to put maximum pressure on. Bellarmino always trying to go to the lab and find new ways to put more pressure on.
The lab. I like it.
Mix some stuff together in one of those science beakers that the nerds use. This could be a call.
King 9 off. Yeah. It's really close, right? King 8 is probably a fold most of the time. King 9, reasonable call. Guess you could call King 8 too.
We got a king in the window.
King. But look out for those fours.
Fours and aces.
Well, no, just fours now.
Oh, just fours.
The
You're
9
right.
came on the turn. It's going to be tough.
It's
Patrick.
a king. The nuts.
the damn nuts. Everybody ladders up a little bit more. We are down to 6. It's very real now. Money is getting serious.
Oh, this is cool. I just noticed that they're doing the levels by hand rather than by time because we're at one table. So it says level 27 in 22 hands. I love that. That's really cool.
Yeah, that's great. That's really great. Got a $27,000 money jump here.
Ooh, we got a confrontation coming for sure. Simon Higgins is going to be all in.
Dong may open. Oh,
Dong folds. Right. Dong just doesn't open the button.
It's like Dong's watching the stream with us to make that fold. That's really shocking, but perfect timing as it turns out. Bellarmino, of course, calling here.
Yep. And an ace is dead, so it's going to be tough.
You can't say that before the flop comes out. That means an ace always comes, bro. Ace jack always wins if you say someone. I folded an ace.
That's a pretty good
open ender.
No diamond though. Diamond wouldn't help.
Yeah, no diamond doesn't help. Yeah, king's hold.
Steve Goldie says, "Yeah, go. You got it."
He says the 3x is to stop the big blind having good stop and go price. A lot of the top players open bigger when the big blind is short these days. That's a great point, Steve Goldie. Of course, stop and go, for those of you who don't know, is where you call in the big blind when you have a stack where if you shove, you're almost always getting called. But if you wait and you just call, you can shove almost any flop and get full and have fold equity. So there are a lot of hands where you might choose to do that with, where you don't really want to get called with pocket fives. It's always a flip, but if you stop and go, you're gonna fold out a bigger percentage. You're gonna have some fold equity with fives and still win a nicer pot because they put some chips in ahead of time.
Well, Simon Higgins just got the bad news here.
Yeah. I mean, it looks like Bellarmino is just pushing people around, and to some degree that's true, but Bellarmino also picking up a fair amount of hands here.
As we see.
And once again.
But Bellarmino has been pushing people around too. I mean that too. For sure.
But more, I think Bellarmino's had more great hands than anybody else, except maybe Kristen. Kristen's had like 3 or 4. Maybe Bellarmino's had the most good hands. So that helps. Simon's going to have to decide how to play jacks with 15 blinds under the gun 6-handed.
You could jam, and he does. It's a lot easier that way.
Yeah, I don't hate a jam, but a lot less value, but a lot easier.
And you can get called by far weaker hands like 9s, 10s, and 8s sometimes. And
sure.
It's a great spot.
Ace jack.
Yeah. Bellarmino with the ace-7 off open, just pedal to the floor.
Bellarmino with 86 blinds.
This is probably a shove from Simon as well, right?
If you're jamming jacks under the gun, this is a clear shove, yeah. Pickle says, guys, I'm enjoying the stream. Pickle, we're enjoying you enjoying the stream, so thank you.
If I can make a Pickle happy, it's a good day.
This could be a jam. But last time Bellarmino limped, and limps again. And flops best, but Jerome with some equity as well.
Jerome could definitely call once, and does.
Oh, yeah. Especially for one blind. That's probably going to have to do it, right? Yeah. The $2,500 six max, that is, in the real World Series, an event like that, guys like me and Grant who think of ourselves as very good players do not enter an event like that because we know it's all hardcore great players only, basically.
Mostly.
Yeah. It's like only the best play the six max for more than $1,000. Like they're all the crushers.
Kristen getting a little loosey-goosey here. And gets called by the Queen 6, and Jerome probably can't fold on this flop. Might even check shove.
Oh. I think it's a check shove for Jerome for sure here. You got to deny equity once Kristen c-bets. This is really unlucky for Kristen that she got called and that Jerome flopped anything. Really unlucky.
He calls. Ooh, Kristen can win now. Ace and a diamond. This is a clear bet.
I think it's a move-in. Just move him in. Like he does not have diamonds almost ever. And he has very few aces. This is a pretty clear move-in. You'd be very unlucky.
She checks it back. That is interesting.
She has the best hand, though. She rivers the best hand.
Wow. I am surprised to see.
Is Jerome going to bluff?
He is. How can she call? She can't call.
I don't know. This is a crazy hand. Phil Holden, there is no way to see these guys' online tournament winnings. We wish there was.
You can Hendon mob them individually, but online, I don't know how to see that.
I mean, there's the GPI, which tracks some online stuff, but not all of it. So that gives you more information. So you could check their GPIs. I don't know anything else you can really reasonably do here.
Oh, Kristen moves in.
Gosh. Kristen's
what a play.
The King of Diamonds. Wow. Kristen Bicknell doesn't bluff the turn and then gets free chips on the river. That's amazing.
I was shocked to see her.
That?
I was shocked to see her check the turn. Shocked. And
I got to tell you, it never occurred to me she would raise the river. I thought it was a fold or a call only based on Jerome's stack size. And I guess she read it right that he would just move in. If he had a hand that he could, like the King of Diamonds, that he'd probably just move in.
Well, now he's going to be all in against the Jack Queen. Let's see how this turns out. Then we can talk a little bit more about that.
Wow. Well, he's just about done.
Just a 5 to save Jerome.
That is not a 5.
It is not. Good game, Jerome.
Wow, Jerome was this close to busting Kristen. Just going to do a little in memoriam here with the ace queen.
Oh, right.
Kristen had the 9s, and Bellarmino just pushed him out of the hand with deuces when he 4-bet all in with deuces, and Kristen got to not be up against the ace queen and instead have it be in a dominating spot. Otherwise, this whole tournament could be different. Kristen would be out. I mean, it's pretty incredible.
We do a podcast, 45 minutes. We talk about one hand. I think we might end up doing that Kristen Bicknell hand that just happened.
Yeah, I think we have to do that hand. That's the first one I think we need to do.
I think so. I think what happened is that Kristen recognized that at that stack depth, he didn't really have any King of Diamonds in his range from the pre-flop action. Like she had all the King of Diamonds in her pre-flop range, and he didn't because he limped and she raised.
What was the flop? It was ace high, right?
No, it was Jack 6 deuce or something, and then the turn was an ace of diamonds. Right.
So I guess he could have he could have like King 6 with the King of Diamonds, but that's almost it.
But he limp called, right? He's usually just going to open with those types of hands. So she has way more than that.
But it turns out he limp called with Queen 6 also. So
yeah,
I guess that would just be an incorrect assumption as it turns out. But you wouldn't think that. I mean, I would understand why she would think that. Yeah. Nice spot here for Ilya with 2 pair.
Not expecting him to get too much action.
Nope. Twitch, by the way, says a 10 is too weak to call, I think. Got to shove some pairs, and unblocking better pairs is good. Sick shove. It was a sick shove.
Yes, it was.
That was a sick shove. What the guy had 6 blinds back, and she shoved over him as a bluff. Turns out she had the best hand.
Really cool,
Brandon Engel says, yeah, Brandon Engel says value shove from Kristen, LOL. Yeah, that's a good little joke. That's probably the best or most interesting we've seen in all of the streaming so far, I would say. This is our 3rd time doing this.
Yeah.
And it's by the person who's got the best resume of anyone we've done. So I guess it all fits together.
It is a skill game.
I guess so, man. I think I would have thrown that hand in the muck without thinking too much about it. And instead, she wins extra chips. She wins the bluffing chips as well of the other player. Incredible hand.
By the way, we are into the 6-figure payouts. $102K for the next payout. Still $250K more to win.
I mean, that's pretty solid. It's a quality amount.
It's tough to be in it to this extent, but it's such a nice feeling to be in the money in a poker tournament when you get to the money parts that are like the good money and you're like, it just gets better. It's either this or it's better. Life is so good.
I love that.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah, I mean, they're playing, the next money jump is $32,000. So comparatively to what's at stake at this point, there shouldn't be any real thoughts, I think, for anyone to be laddering up at this point. I guess you have 3 really extreme short stacks. So Ilya maybe could be, Bellarmino could put pressure on Ilya. But besides that, there shouldn't be too much successful pressure being able to put on anybody.
Limp from Ilya.
Limp. What is happening?
This is a response to Bellarmino consistently trying to bully any open by Ilya the entire final table, I think.
And there it is. Ilya could do a lot of things here. Fold seems like the only thing that Ilya can't do.
I would have loved to see a 3-bet there. I would have loved it.
Me too. And you're basically repping aces, kings, maybe queens once in a while, maybe ace king.
And Bellarmino gets away with another one.
Wow. Over 10 million chips now for Bellarmino. Over 100 blinds for Bellarmino. Just in great, great shape here.
I could see Bellarmino just shipping for the 20 bigs effective, small to big here.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's the way to play these sixes.
Yeah, there it is. All right, we are on break.
It's an interesting thing, you know, Simon Higgins, who is the shortest stack here with what is currently 15 blinds. I mean, there's real louting opportunities for Simon and for Dong and for Kristen. I think Kristen probably isn't caring about that because of her unbelievable resume and all the money she's won in poker. I doubt she cares about like $70,000. But the difference between fifth and third is, I mean, if that money means anything to you, which I have to believe it mostly means to Simon and Dong, just looking at their Hendons anyway. I could be wrong, but these guys may have to play a little tighter and a little more careful for a while.
I agree. Dong and Simon just have to hope they don't get cards cold as a penguin, you know?
Yeah, that's a really good point. No one wants penguins can be pretty cold because, you know, the Antarctica is where I believe the penguins live. So there's that. All right, let's see what you guys have to say here. Phil Golden says, what do you bros think of Charlie Carroll coaching True Giordi? Reckon there's a diamond in the rough about to be unleashed. I don't know what you're referring to, Phil. I know who Charlie Carroll is, of course. I don't know who True Giordi is. So I'm a little out of touch with that one. I'm still caught up in the whole Daniel Negreanu got banned from Twitch and the apology video that he did and all that stuff. To me, that was pretty interesting. The I should say with quotes around it, apology video where first it looked like he had been cowed by his PR people. He was wearing a suit and then it was clear he didn't take it seriously. And then he showed he really didn't take it seriously, but then admitted that he shouldn't have said the things he said. And he called himself, I believe, an asshole multiple times and that it was stupid and that he's human and not perfect. And I thought actually he navigated that reasonably well, I guess. But what do you guys think? If you saw Negreanu's apology, do you think that was fine? Do you think he even needed to apologize? Do you think more was required? I don't know. What do you think? So it is interesting, though, to see how Ilya could really be in some tough spots here, man. Bellarmino has been putting so much pressure on Ilya this whole time. I mean, I just don't know how. I assume Bellarmino is just going to keep doing that anyway. Just keep pushing Ilya around, and Ilya's going to have to wait for some of these shorties to bust or decide Ilya's just going for the bracelet. The Grizz asks, you guys excited for D-Negs versus Polk heads up? Hell yeah, buddy. Absolutely. Very excited. Justin Lovelace asked the same thing. Surprised that D-Negs is going to play No Limit heads up at 200, 400 with Polk. I didn't know they had come up with 200, 400. I had seen that they were sort of negotiating when I last saw the Twitter stuff yesterday anyway of how many tables at the same time, things like that. But they were close. This is really going to happen. The question for me is Doug going to be talking trash in the chat stream the whole time? The more rake is better stuff. He's probably going to change his avatar to say more rake is better, right? It could be great. Definitely, I'm going to be watching at least some of that. I mean, Doug wanted to play like 50,000 hands, so that's going to take forever. So I'm not going to watch that constantly, but I don't know if they're really going to play that much anyway. I mean, does Daniel really want to play 50,000 hands? I mean, think about how long the Phil Galfond Omaha match was, right? Like it took forever. That was 50,000 hands. Now they were only playing 2 tables, but still, that's what Doug and D-Negs are going to do too. I got to believe they're going to end up more closer to like 15,000, 20,000 hands at most, maybe even less.
Do you really think they'll do it though? Do you think they'll come to a consensus agreement? I feel like it's going to be tough to get those two guys to agree on anything.
They're really close. They were close last I looked, and now people are referring to it as if it's a done deal. So I think they probably come to agreement at this point. It's apparently 200, 400. I think it's 2 tables. Daniel said, oh, there you go. 10 to 25K hands at most. There you go. Thanks, Justin Lovelace. Tarl Kudrick asked what the numbers in the lower corner of each avatar mean. Kristen Bick is 16. Ilya is 20. Those numbers, they can't be ages. 1 is 6. Well, that's a little ageist, Tarl. I mean, a 6-year-old can't play poker well? Says whom?
Most people would agree. Most people would agree.
You think Stewie Younger was a terrible 6-year-old poker player? I'd like to push back.
I think that if he beat me in a pot, I could simply pick him up and put him outside.
He was huge. Stewie Younger was a huge 6-year-old. Doyle would have been an amazing poker player right there. Anyway, they're VPIPs for these guys. And we think it's a rolling VPIP for something like the last hour, the last 2 hours. We're not exactly sure how long. We should actually ask Gigi that next time we
should figure that out.
Chatting with those guys, because you're right. Harry Chapman says, not a fan of Negreanu, just not a very nice guy. Thinks he's bigger than poker. Very easy to make fun of, and it's somewhat surprising that no one else has gone after him other than Polk. I think these days people are going after him a little bit. Like he's after getting banned from Twitch and all the videos that come out, he's definitely taken a lot of flack. Grant, what's your thoughts on Negreanu these days?
My opinion has certainly lessened of him with recent events. It's just, it's hard to justify the types of things we've seen him do. Starting with the no rake is better thing, honestly, but it's gotten a lot worse recently.
Yeah, the no rake is better thing. It felt more like. Yeah. All right. Well, let's get back to the poker. We can talk more about Negreanu. We'll have lots of time over the coming weeks to talk about Negreanu.
Hey, Caio Eduardo says, much love from Brazil. Thank you, Caio. We've seen a lot of Brazilians do well on the stream so far, so I suppose the stream loves Brazil as well.
I suppose it does, Grant. Well said.
As Bill Armino is crushing the table, by the way. Kristen, interesting call.
She's really... Oh, my gosh. Look at that.
Oh, just let him do it. Like, this is the guy who's going to do it too, right? He's just going to go 3 streets some of the time. Wow. I don't expect her to raise. It would be almost like...
Click back would be kind of brilliant.
It would be almost like respectable if she raised, even though it wouldn't work out.
A click back would be kind of amazing, but... Because he could sit there and think, well, if I move in, I'm just repping. Oh, what a card for Kristen on the river.
Oh, now she can really get paid.
For the 10. Yeah, he's going to have to call this. Because he never, it's quads or he's at least chopping.
I think maybe she should go for a check shove instead of a lead. Try to go for it all if she can have a chance at it. But she does lead.
She's just worried. She's just trying to get called by like smaller pocket pairs and ace highs. Wow. What a river card for Kristen.
She even blocked the 10, It's pretty nice.
I mean, he could have hit an 8, of course, as well, but still, that was pretty amazing. We've seen some just crazy stuff on this table in terms of, the flops and the turns and the rivers. You know how it is.
That's a good point.
Vince. This is Mike Sexton after he's been in like a really gritty movie.
What are you doing?
He's had to kill his kid was taken and he had to go kill all the people who took him. I have a very particular set of skills.
Yeah, I've never.
Vince.
Why are you doing the Vince voice when you're doing like? I'm so confused.
I don't know what I'm doing.
You can't be Mike and do the Vince voice. Are you being Mike? Are you being Mike doing Vince? Is that what you're doing?
I'm not. No, absolutely not. I'm being Mike. Mike's just seen some rough times. Really, really rough times.
But he doesn't have a Southern accent anymore.
Yeah, I'm saying the rough times knock the Southern accent
right. Hey, look at this. Yes, Ilya's fears are realized. Every time Ilya enters the pot, Bellarmino is like, you know what, Ilya? I hate you. I'm going to raise.
It's such a good idea to put pressure on Ilya. Bellarmino could essentially 3-bet Ilya with almost any holdings.
Yeah.
Currently with these chip stack setups with the situation, Ilya's just going to be forced to fold. It sucks to be Ilya.
I actually kind of love it. And the next time I make a final table of any meaning, I think I might employ the strategy if I have the chip lead to just like every time the second in chips does anything, I raise. Yeah. Meanwhile, Bellarmino with a monster flop.
Yeah. Kristen just has to fold. Pickle asked if Kristen got good value there. This is, of course, the quad hands that Pickle's referring to. I think so. seeing the cards, we could see how Kristen could have gotten even better value, but she's trying to get called by, I think, ace high and mostly there when she bets 500K on the river, where it looks like she's just desperately calling or something like that, or desperately bluffing. So I think she did fine. I mean, knowing what the hands are, yeah, Grant's right. She could certainly go for the check shove. She could go to induce the bluff also with the check on the river. But
it's tough to disguise the strength of your hand when you flop quad kings in a spot where you called out of the small blind and then check called the flop. Like, usually if you have a pair of eights or better, and a lot of smaller pairs too, you're going to 3-bet those anyway. So, like, you have a lot of quad kings there.
She has, I mean, yeah, like she has ace highs and she has quads. She doesn't have any pocket pairs. I think all pocket pairs were just been the jam pre. So, yeah, that's the thing. Hey, kind of a fun little turn here. Both players turn a pair.
And
there's the flush for Dong. What a great card for Dong. Let's see if Ilya goes for it. Does have a little showdown value.
Nope. No value for Dong.
Well, let's find out.
I don't imagine we're going to see a call out of Ilya.
I agree. Good fold, though. Ilya must just feel like he or she is just getting beat up, though, like constantly having to fold. It must really suck.
Dong likes to show cards, whether or not he entered showdown in the hand.
Simon Higgins pretending to think about it, I guess. Simon now less than 10 blinds and is the true short stack. So now actually Bellarmino can put pressure on Dong and Kristen as well.
Yeah.
I'll put some ICM pressure on them.
This should probably be a shove for Simon here.
Yeah. Yeah, he does. And I can't imagine Bellarmino's going to call it jack high, right? Not this jack high anyway.
Some players,
jack 10 suited, maybe.
If he prescribes to the Harrington philosophy, it's a call, right? If you have 10 times, if you have 10 times your opponent's chips, you call with any hand in any position when they go all in.
I don't know if it was any position, but definitely it's any hand, which is of course crazy. And that was in Harrington on Hold'em, I think part 2, but nice and easy for Kristen here.
Another 20 blind shove, small to big. Bellarmino not afraid to do that with any reasonable holding against Kristen. Seems like a good player to do it against too. Just reduce the variance as much as possible. Reduce the post flop play out of position against Kristen Bicknell.
Agreed. Boy, it's just been smooth sailing for Bellarmino. Basically,
really
almost this entire final table. That one hand with deuces, but it wasn't even so bad. Kristen didn't even have that many chips anyway. It's the only sort of misstep so far.
Sam JB asks, is there delay? Yes, there is. It's a 30-minute delay. Otherwise, the players could cheat. We don't want that.
Yeah, it's less fun to watch poker if everyone knows what everyone has. Less bluffs get through. Less action. This could just be a shove, yeah.
Don't expect Simon to call.
No, I don't know why Simon keeps taking time on these spots. Maybe Simon's like watching Netflix at the same time or something. Because, as you said, the levels don't go up except by hands anyway. It's 19 more hands, so all Simon's doing is costing himself time bank.
Well, I hear they just got Scrubs back on Hulu, so maybe Simon's binging end of season 1, beginning of season 2. That's when it starts to get pretty good.
I mean, the whole first season's pretty good. Come on, how dare you? I think the first three and a half seasons of Scrubs are super solid. And
that's why Simon is taking his time. Do you understand now?
Right.
He's watching.
He's like that JD.
Hey, Bellarmino, by the way. Bellarmino's doing it with all sorts of hands, small to big against Kristen. He just did it with 4-7. I don't know if Snap Shove would love that one.
Yeah, I doubt it. But Snap Shove doesn't know that there's all these money jumps and 2 other really short stacks as well. We were saying that Simon had really pulled away in terms of being the major short stack, but now Kristen and Dong are kind of moving back into it. I mean, Simon has 10 blinds. Kristen's under 20, and Dong is at 20.
And Kristen continues the flatting reasonable hands out of the small blind against Bellarmino strategy with 20 bigs, and it's been working out. She flops well again. Obviously not quads this time, but pretty damn good.
Indeed. Bellarmino has a lot of good turn cards to keep barreling on here, assuming Kristen just calls.
I expect a call.
Fully expect her to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like you don't flat this hand in from the small blind to raise now when you're Kristen Bicknell and you think you have a skill advantage on the table.
Oh.
And I take everything back. I'm wrong about everything. Wow, Kristen Bicknell, really surprising.
Perhaps Kristen believes Bellarmino will see this as weak and pounce on it, and Kristen's hoping to get it all in this flop.
I have to believe she's never folding top pair when she decides to check raise there with her stack size. That she's basically repping a flush draw and hoping she gets pushed around.
Ooh, we're gonna have
Simon and Kristen.
Yeah. And Ilya, by the way, who's going to be lucky enough to not have to be all in against the tens once Kristen reshoves.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Ilya's going to be upset about it right now, and he's going to be super happy as soon as the cards get turned over. Clip-Clop McGee says, so the poker guys are anti-cheating, huh? I mean, Clip-Clop McGee, it depends on the game.
I don't like the implication, Clip-Clop, and I'm not using your last name. Hey, that's a pretty good flop for Kristen. 1 out for the tens.
Just one time she praised. And she makes the nuts on the river.
Well, it's apparent now that Kristen has used her virtual one time more than one time at this point. And that is a huge deal. Kristen Bicknell, now with a workable stack and all of the experience in these situations in the world, she is a true threat to win this tournament.
Indeed. And I don't know, is Bella, she's going to be the least afraid to play back at Bellarmino. And I wonder if Bellarmino is going to slow down a little bit now that Kristen has a real stack.
Well, this is kind of what I was rooting for. We get to see Kristen operate now with real chips.
35 blinds, not so bad. Yeah, actually, the chips have really consolidated pretty nicely here. Dong, of course, with 18.5 blinds, but the other 3 stacks are significant and can really put some pain into each other. I mean that, of course, in a poker way only. Uh-oh.
Well, Kristen's probably about to lose about 2 million chips.
Well, she's likely to get it in bad. We could say that much. I assume she's calling off here with ace-jack button to big blind.
If she folds, it's something to really consider and wonder about and think, okay, this is like a skill edge thing. She's like, why take that variance when I just leveraged myself into this position where I have so much more flexibility against players that I feel superior to?
Yeah. I mean, Dong has not been 3-betting all in.
No.
Like, we haven't seen that. At the same point, ace-jack on button to big blind is so high up in your range.
It's just, it feels too good, but you'd have to know Dong really well. I know in local $100 tournaments, I've folded in this spot.
Yeah, she's calling though. Oh, she needs her one time.
Flops a jack. Wow.
Right in.
Just a king.
Now, she has all the skill, she has all the experience, and she has all the luck as well. Wait a second.
Well, it is paint. Looks like a queen.
Wow, that was that was a good slow roll. That was a slow turn of the card there. I enjoyed that. And Kristen Bicknell, second in chips, 36 blinds now, 55 blinds, excuse me now, and a real threat.
Yeah, and we are to some serious money. We're at $191K for the current payout, $261 for second, and $356 for first.
Yeah. Wow. Things have, it's just what the poker guys are hoping for, really, is a big run by Kristen Bicknell so we can watch her operate. She is operating. We've seen her frickin' operate. Not so much that ace-jack hand.
Yeah, she ran pretty good there.
She ran pretty good there, but she's played very well and made a play that sort of blew our minds already. That's pretty good.
Yeah, we got kings. Not going to get any action, most likely, unless Bellarmino decides to go nuts, but he does not.
Hey, look at this. Justin Lovelace says, just order a paperback copy of your book on Amazon. Next day shipping. We'll be here tomorrow. Looking forward to it. Love the podcast. We're looking forward to you enjoying it, Justin. Let us know what you think of it. I'm sure you're going to like it. If you're enjoying this stream at all, you're going to like the book.
Yeah.
It's this, except on 37 really fun, interesting hands that are fascinating and different and great. And it's pretty. All right. So, Bellarmino, bottom pair, gut shot. You think she's going to c-bet this?
It's a close one. It hits a lot of types of hands.
But he's going to have a lot of folds too, Bellarmino, like it's better for her range than for his by a lot. She has the nuts, he doesn't. Wow, and he just folds. Look at that.
I mean, there's not much that 8-10 can do to improve in a way that feels good there.
I hear you, but like you can make, sometimes you have the best hand. Sometimes you make a straight on the turn. Sometimes you make
not a good straight. It's not a straight that you really want.
I mean, it's still pretty good against, the button open.
I throw it in the garbage. That's straight.
You're a brave man.
All right. Well, Big Nell calling the ace-3. Bellarmino's probably going to rep this board, right?
Hell yeah. Big Nell keeps flopping well against Bellarmino. Like we've just seen it over and over again. All she does is flop top pair or quads. Look at the size of this bet.
Yeah, we're seeing this again from Bellarmino. He really likes to size it up.
I wonder, Big Nell just cannot fold even to this sizing for one street, right?
Well, now she's got 2 pair, so nothing's going to work for Bellarmino.
Let's see if he goes for it, though. Takes another mighty swing, or if that sizing means he's just going to bail out because she obviously has something real.
Yeah, I would bail, I think, after 750. I mean, maybe she could have king, jack, queen, queen 10 at the worst, and you could fold those hands out. But also she has a lot of hands that are better than that aren't going to consider folding. So I think it makes sense to give up.
Absolutely. And she's especially strong here. This may be basically as strong as she gets, actually, ace-3, based on the pre-flop action. Maybe, that's probably literally the best hand she can have is ace-3 right now. She's 3-betting ace-queen, ace-king in all sets. And I guess jack-10. She can have jack-10.
Yeah.
But that's it, right? So Bellarmino does find the eject button. Kristen Bicknell, 3-handed for the bracelet. Feels like all the momentum is in her corner right now.
And she flops a flush draw. It's just, life is easy. It's easy street.
She's been connecting with like board after board. And the one time she got it in bad, she flopped the guy down to 3 outs and held. Everything's going well right now for Kristen. And she is getting close to Bellarmino. Just 10 blinds back now.
And now she has 8s. Probably going to get the defend from Bellarmino.
Yeah, have to believe that.
This is a flop we could see a kind of a out of position float from Bellarmino on this board, or a check raise. He's got 2 back doors, and he can rep trips.
Yep.
If you're going to have a float or a check raise on this board that has seemingly very little equity, 3-5 of clubs feels like a natural candidate, but Bellarmino decides not to give it a shot, which is fair as well.
Yep. I agree with you, by the way, as a natural candidate. I think that's a pretty good one.
Surprised to see Ilya fold the king 7 on the button. I think he's content to let the 2 big stacks duke it out, hope to sneak into second place and then make a run type of thing, maybe.
Sure. I mean, just go for it, punch each other away. It's like Godzilla versus King Kong. I'm just going to sit here and watch. Bellarmino decided to limp there after raising Kristen's blind many, many times in a row. So Bellarmino's changing his strategy as well now that Kristen's chipped up.
Sucks to have Kristen on your left and just chipping up and hitting hands and everything.
Yeah, it does. It really does. I think Ilya finally wins a pot. It's been so long, it feels like, since Ilya actually won a pot.
But maybe since the last time Ilya won a pot, Ilya has won $100,000, That's possible.
Yeah. It's a good point. And Ilya has somehow maintained about the same stack size. So I guess Ilya's winning a few small pots here and there.
Does open the ace-4, unlike the king 7. Feels kind of like Ilya's button range is more of a middle position range here, just deciding to tighten it up and not mess around with these bulldogs in the blinds.
Yeah.
Another incredible flop for Kristen Bicknell.
You got that right. And Ilya just has to continue on this board, right? I mean, this is just a board to bet. And does not.
Does not, and
wow.
luckily doesn't, because now drawing dead.
Kristen is on frickin' fire. She's like Katniss at the beginning of when they went in the Capitol and went around in the chariots. You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
You guys get me.
These are your people, yeah. They're waiting for that Katniss reference.
That first movie is really good. Bignell continues calling with these types of hands in the small blind.
And look at this flop now. The royal draw. Holy cow.
I don't know if I've seen a player hit this many flops in a row. And I can't. Oh, and
gets there. And Bellarmino's going to have to rep this, right, if Kristen checks?
Yeah. Kristen might go for a check raise here.
There is the check. Bellarmino had a perfect check back on the flop, but I don't know. It feels like checks it back. Probably because he has some showdown value.
Yeah, he probably thinks he's winning a lot and doesn't need to bluff it. Kristen can bet for value here and get called. I gotta believe. How's she gonna size it? Pretty big.
Yeah, quite big, almost pot.
I mean, Bellarmino engineered this spot, right? Like
folds,
but finds the fold. Wow. Kristen takes the chip lead.
That's a good fold, and I've been impressed by Bellarmino. We've seen that he has multiple gears. It's not just go. He adjusts to the game and understands what's going on.
Yeah, he understands like when he takes certain swings at like hands, and then doesn't get folds, and understands that means he's probably not gonna get fold. And gives up. Like he's willing to give up at times. That's really important. By the way, Kristen flopped another flop. Oh no, she did not. She did not flop a flush draw.
No flush draw.
She just missed the board. It must be so weird.
What happened?
To just not crush the board when
a flop came out? Is this thing on? Is the software working?
Yeah. Well, this is sort of a bit of a nightmare spot for Ilya now, where Bellarmino's not going after Kristen. Kristen's not 3-betting very much from the small blind, even when she's playing hands after Bellarmino opens. They're playing a little carefully, sort of. It looks like waiting for Ilya to, either chip up or bust.
Well, this looks like this might be. Yeah, this is what Ilya was going for, and I don't know. This is pretty big, but Bellarmino does find the correct call. Yeah. Huge pot here.
King would.
Ooh, it's a deuce.
Oh my God!
It's a king or a jack.
Yeah,
it's a 5.
It's so sick.
Wow, Bellarmino with all, and Kristen shows that she had a deuce.
Rubs the salt in the wound. And Bellarmino, who's been the chip leader the whole time, is now the short stack.
Bellarmino, who was just grinding away, taking advantage of passive play, playing really well, I thought. And
I agree.
Super unlucky there.
This is why, this is one of the values, though, of grinding up your stack, like pushing everyone around all those hands. It means when you take this horrible beat in this spot, you're still alive and still have a reasonable chip stack. You know? Like all that work pays off right now. Bellarmino still has 33 blinds. But man, heartbreaking. Uh-oh. I see ace-9 versus ace-8.
And a limp.
Oh, and a limp.
This might be a new strategy from Bellarmino.
I mean, if Ilya raises and Bellarmino shoves, I don't know if Ilya's going to call with ace-9. I think ace-9 is probably going to end up folding.
He does raise big. And just a call. And he flops the 8.
Wow. This is just an incredible table. I'm loving this.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
This is everything the 2500 6 max was supposed to be. We've gotten it. Kind of a big sizing here for Ilya. Half the pot.
Can't fold as Bellarmino.
No way. No chance. Oh, it's got to be heartbreaking for Ilya to bet that, get called, and then you're like, am I really going to keep trying? The guy has like so many queens here.
And about a pot-sized bet back.
Like, it turns out an 8 probably is going to find a fold on a big bet, but how many 8s does he have? He just doesn't have very many. So many more queens.
Yeah, when the limp call happens. Bellarmino going to protect the equity here.
Yeah. Doesn't want to get bluffed either on the river if a weird card comes like a king. Wow. And Bellarmino, now look, the stack sizes are all pretty close. This is anyone's game.
It is.
Man, I got to tell you, I've really missed poker. I've played online some, but man, I've missed like high stakes tournament action. So great. Rob Canton Jr. says this could be Kristen's biggest win of her career. Is that so? It seems impossible.
Can't be true.
I'm going to look that up. I feel like I just have to know if that's true. Because it just seems like she must have had a bigger one. Is it 350 for first? Right?
356, yeah.
Her best live cash is actually 408,000 live. So it wouldn't be the biggest win of her career. She also has won 2 other bracelets as well. But it might be the second biggest win of her career. I guess it likely would be. I would have guessed that she'd actually even had a bigger win than 400K. She in November 2019, she won the Poker Masters 25K No Limit Hold'em event for $408,000, which is currently her biggest live score, at least. Many, many other big scores, of course. She finished 11th in the PCA Poker Stars Championship for $328K, etc.
During that little deluge, we saw Ilya turn the open ender, and he bet more than pot, which was interesting. Got the fold out of Bellarmino.
Poker Channel says we picked a good game to cast. We sure did.
Yeah.
Oh man, this is. I mean, I hope and pray we get one more streaming final table of World Series action the rest of the summer that's as good as this one. I mean, this has been incredible. And Kristen and Ilya could definitely play a pot here.
Yep.
Neither one chooses to raise.
Somewhat good card for Ilya there.
No one really rates to have an ace. Ilya less so even than Kristen, but that club, he chooses not to bet. Again, I guess the king nine is good enough showdown value. It's pretty reasonable.
Well, if Kristen can get to showdown, she somehow gets to win on this board, which will feel amazing.
I expect she's getting to showdown.
She bets and gets called.
Amazing.
What a value bet by Kristen Bicknell. Those are the little marginal things that just make you a great player.
I can't believe she got called. Oh, my God.
Wow. This is a setup waiting to happen. Holy crap.
We could have a 3-way all-in. We could have a 3-way all-in right now. If Ilya just calls and he's going to save his tournament.
Ilya's getting away from it now. This is
incredible. Obviously, Kristen's going to go with it, and Ilya's going to be able to fold sevens.
This is going to be brutal for Bellarmino after the show that Bellarmino has put on at this final table if he doesn't hit a jack or some sort of straight or flush.
Unbelievable.
2 diamonds there.
There's the 3rd diamond.
Does Kristen have a diamond? I can't see because of her thing. No, she doesn't.
Does not. It's 2 black. Is it red or
black?
It's
a diamond.
It's a diamond.
Bellarmino got there.
Oh, my gosh. The queen of diamonds was the only diamond she could hit. That wasn't it. This is absolutely unbelievable.
Not that it was unfair in any way. Jacks are supposed to get in there. Kristen could have just as easily had the jacks in that spot. But, man.
You're, of course, right. It's an unlucky spot. It's just unlucky for someone when it's jacks versus queen 3-handed. I mean, and however it goes down, right? That's just the way it is. So, but devastating for Kristen. She would have had almost 16 million chips and would have been heads up with all the experience. Oh my gosh, it would have been such a cherry spot for her. Wow. Looks like she's having fun with it.
She's doing the Negreanu emoji.
So Sick is really Elky, though, isn't it? More than Negreanu.
Yeah.
She's just experimenting. Yeah.
Good thing she's enjoying herself.
Wow. Diamond on the river.
And Bellarmino just back in the driver's seat where he had been for the majority of the final table.
Indeed. Here's another almost setup type spot here. Kristen has to shove this.
Yes.
I guess she's going to get it through, though.
I don't think King Jack's going to call.
No, I don't think so either. It's too much of a stack. People have done some more research on Kristen. It says her best. This would be her best online score according to Pocket Fives. Her best was 269K.
So biggest online score. Yeah.
And yeah, definitely one of the most significant scores of her career if she were to win this.
Which is a lot less likely after that queens against Jack's hand.
Sure is. That diamond on the river really kind of heartbreaking. But she did, of course, get in with ace-jack against ace-king and won in a really big spot earlier.
Yeah, fair.
And she got lucky that Bellarmino just shoved with the deuces instead of folding the deuces and letting the other guy bust her with ace-queen, which was, so there are lots of things going on here. But wow. Once again, everyone has pretty good hands here.
I mean, don't try to draw a line between this and the Jack's Queen Sevens hand. It's tough to get those three. Like,
Kristen might decide to shove this one too.
Wouldn't be crazy.
Three-way call, and the Jack of Spades is in Ilya's hand along with a pair of tens. Everyone has something. Gut shot for Bellarmino. Kristen could start betting here.
I would expect to bet. I expect Ilya to call.
Yeah. Can she really give the whole table a free card here? Yeah, she cannot. Ilya just has to call, right? Question is going to be if it's a brick. It's brick-ish. It's not a total brick.
It's brick-esque. It's got the essence of brick.
Ilya can definitely have queen 10, but not even really king jack unless it's king jack with the king of spades. But she goes for the check. I think I don't know if I guess to induce against a spade that doesn't have a pair.
Yeah, I mean it's tough to get called by a worse hand when you bet there,
especially when the queen shows up.
Yeah,
then it's hard for tens to call. Yeah. Kristen chips back up to second place. Still in it. I don't know. Every time I look, it feels like Ilya's losing a hand, but Ilya has maintained around a 4 million chip stack this whole time. So,
well, he had a lot more for a second after that double up against Bellarmino, but then he lost it back.
Yeah. David Capico says that he's noticed that McNell's been unlucky in tourneys that are streamed. I will say this, David, except for that one hand here, she's been running super hot at this table, insanely hot. Like as hot as the sun, hotter than I've almost ever seen anyone run in a big spot in a tournament. So for like the last hour, but then that Queens ended it. The Queens versus Jack hand very much ended it. Well, he gets the win and is lined up for another one.
Don't expect any action here.
No. There was a point, I think, when all the really good players were actually calling the min raises with queen deuce and stuff like that in the big blind, but everything's gotten a little tighter than that.
There's ebbs and flows. Ebbs and flows. This should be Ilya's pot. We'll see.
I mean, it's possible. I assume Kristen's going to fold. It's possible Ilya's just going to complete rather than raise.
Yeah.
Because it just hates getting 3-bet so much and been 3-bet so many times. Bellarmino. Yeah, there's the complete.
Bellarmino, it's an Ilya-specific thing. Anytime Ilya's in the pot, Bellarmino's like, I'm going to make it 7 times as much as it currently is because I don't like this person.
It's kind of worked pretty much every time. So it's been an incredibly successful strategy for Bellarmino.
Hey, there's another good flop. She's back, huh? She's back to the good flops.
Christopher Gordon asks, can we get Marty on one of these tables?
Well, Marty's going to have to make his way to a World Series of Poker final table. Marty, one of our poker time regulars, known for VPipping 103%.
I mean, the highest VPip rate I think we've ever seen, and the lowest and the highest get to showdown rate I think I've ever seen for Marty. Kristen with the check raise, that's going to end it. Well, I assume it's going to end it.
Nope, it is not. And Ilya with the backdoor flush draw, now the front door flush draw.
The nut blocker as well. This could turn into a bluff for Ilya.
Kristen can't love that card. 9-10 gets there. Hearts get there.
I mean, Ilya, if Kristen's check raising, she's usually check raising with open enders and flush draws, right? The open ender came in, the flush draw came in. I don't know if can Ilya really raise here?
I mean, there's got to be some sort of plan. Ilya does call.
I mean, all you're beating now is like 9-6 and 5-6, right?
maybe the plan is to make a move on the river, assuming Kristen gives the opportunity.
Kristen might just move in. You know, the old Mike Sexton, well, if you have a better hand, congratulations. Good luck to you. You know, that whole thing.
It's a nice philosophy. No, she checks, and let's see what Ilya does. Checks back. Wow.
Praying that it's a busted straight draw, I guess.
Yeah,
nothing
just
else.
Doesn't believe.
I think she would have had to call that hand. I think she would have called.
I think so too.
So his chance to win was on the turn. If he shoves the turn, it's a tough spot. She's probably calling anyway, but at least every draw came in, so she might find a fold.
She's got a chance to fold there, yeah.
That's it, yeah.
Well, I think we're going to see an all-in confrontation here.
Will Bellarmino call is the question.
Yes.
He does.
Yeah, seems like the right play.
We could be heads up in a second.
Well, Deuce won't do it. Deuce won't do it.
True.
5 or a 6. 7.
Ace, 4. No, not a 4, actually. 5, 6, 7, ace.
7.
There's a 7. That's a straight.
And we are now heads up.
Wow.
For the World Series of Poker bracelet. Both players have played incredibly well. Obviously, Kristen Bicknell has played incredibly well. Bellarmino has been a breath of fresh air. Been very enjoyable to watch.
They're playing for $95,000 more and the bracelet. I don't think Bellarmino is going to fold this hand.
These would, and wow, we might have a one-hand heads up here. If Bellarmino gets there, we could have a one-hand heads up.
If they get it in on this flop, Bellarmino is going to be like 45%, and it's going to be over a lot of the time. Pretty natural spot to raise for Bellarmino.
Absolutely.
Kristen
just calls though, and now
turns a straight draw, but an 8 would be bad.
Now it doesn't seem like this is going to get all in.
I agree.
Kristen checks.
Oh, Kristen, wow, she's so good. Is she checking it to shove, or she's probably just checking a call, right?
I imagine so, yeah. Not folding.
No chance she's folding. I guess it's probably just a call. I mean, she's obviously never folding an overpair with a gut shot. In a million years, heads up. That's a great card for Kristen. She's probably going to check again here.
I think it's a check, and close your eyes and click the call button and hope it's okay.
Yep. Bellarmino really should be bluffing this river, I think, too. I don't think you need to go all in, but you could bet like 3 million. It's such a painful spot that you could put Kristen in.
Does go all in.
She's going to have to call this. I have to believe.
It's not a snap, and it's definitely worth considering. You're certainly not beating any value. I don't think Bellarmino has ace-10.
Probably not. It's not impossible that Bellarmino could have ace-10, but the pre-flop doesn't really point to it. The problem is you're blocking queen-jack, which is one of the hands you most want Bellarmino to have. You don't have any spades. I think this is just a range thing and distribution thing, and our hand is just way too good the way Kristen's played it to fold.
I mean, that board just find a call. That board just looks like your opponent has 2 pair. It just is like that. Just looks like 2 pair to me.
I know, but also Kristen has played it in such a way where she called the turn. She's engineering this a little bit too to like keep the bluffs alive, right?
Yeah, I mean,
she's trying to talk herself into a fold though. It looks
hearts did come in backdoor. Bellarmino's a type of player who could have backdoor hearts. Kristen does block that a little bit. At least that helps.
Yeah. I think it's a close your eyes and call spot. And you're like, I hope you have a big 10 or you missed your spades. Or you have like king jack, which is, you'd expect to raise. Oh, they were blocking that. King queen. You expect to raise pre-flop with king queen. Ace 8, maybe?
Well, she's going to take her time. It's the right thing to do. This is a massive spot.
Yeah.
Playing for $90,000 on a $2,500 buy-in.
Yep. And the bracelet, which may mean more to her than the $95K for all we know. I'm not sure. I would care more about the money. I take that bracelet and melt it down and turn it into a paperweight, but what are you going to do?
Hey, Stuart Young in the chat, one of our Poker Time regulars.
Indeed. Marty would be blackout drunk before he made the final table. That's how he'd make the final table, Stuart. He'd chip up and then be blackout drunk and they'd blind him down and he'd wake up and he'd be at the final table, right? No spoilers, guys. No spoilers in the chat. Come on. What are you doing?
Not cool.
This is dramatic. Let's enjoy this. It could have been a lie, though. We don't know if that was actually a true spoiler, so that's good.
Yeah.
I'm going to assume it's not. I'm going to assume that it could just be a made up thing. All right, let's. I'm not going to look at the chat anymore because I'm enjoying this moment. So is there any other reason to let's just go over this because this may be a while still. Is there any other reason to call besides that we block some of the things, like we block some of the nutted things? We're way at the high end of our distribution. Is there any other reason we can come up with the call? I don't know if there would be other reasons, but
I think the history of Bellarmino at this final table, kind of leaning on aggression in a thoughtful way, but still leaning towards aggression rather than being passive, and seems like the type of player who, when misses and is the aggressor, takes a shot with high frequency. So that would be a reason to call.
Yeah. If I'm Bellarmino right now, I'm putting Kristen on like a 9. And I'm sitting here thinking like, well, I did great. I put her in this spot where she's obviously folding some percentage of the time with this part of her range. And as long as I make them think this long, I must be doing something right. You know, I feel really good about it. When I saw that she had jacks, assuming she calls, if she doesn't, fair enough. I would probably not feel as great about it. Again, because I don't think he's targeting jacks here. You know, he's not targeting an overpair. He's targeting, I think, maybe even ace highs, but probably not. Probably more like pocket 8s is the perfect hand actually that he could be targeting. Pocket 8s, ace 9, something like that. Mr. BP stuff says, is she going to get a better spot in time? I think that's a really important question to ask. Like, Kristen's going to be down to 30 blinds or so.
She does make the call. There it is.
Call.
Huge pot.
So good.
Major deal.
And after all the ups and downs, Kristen McNell back to being the chip leader. Bellarmino had the huge suck out 3-handed, going runner flush.
This is
they're all in free.
Either of these players will be very deserving of winning this bracelet. It's been a great show by both players, and I'm happy for both of them.
Yeah, I like how Bellarmino played it too. I like that. I don't know if Bellarmino needed to actually put her all in, but I think it's fine to have done that. I think 3 million is probably the same, but putting that pressure on making that bet, I think, is really important there based on how the hand played out, even though it didn't work out that time. Yeah, we're gonna have a worthy champion for sure.
Could have gotten all in a different way if Bellarmino had just raised the flop, you know, and had the same result. But that was more entertaining to do it that way. And look at this, Bellarmino not changing his stripes, pure aggression.
I mean, she has the ace of spades. Is she going to fold? I don't think she's going to fold for one small. Oh, and he checks. Is he just giving up?
I feel like when you check after you size it like that, it's a check raise coming, right? But Kristen does not give him the chance.
It looks like he's giving up.
He has given up. This is strange to take a big shot with 7 deuce pre-flop and then never take a shot. Well, it's only the 7 of spades. That's all it is.
It's going to be a bet, though. Like he's going to call a bet now.
He'll probably call a bet, depending on sizing.
Kind of has to. Yeah, but if she bets, you know, $1 million or less, he's definitely going to. I think he's going to call. I think he should call. I should say.
Whoa. Oh, it's big.
He's trying to make it look like a bluff.
That can be convincing, and that can work, especially when it's a player that you know is a good player. You can convince yourself of all sorts of things.
Absolutely. And also, Bellarmino often uses big sizing as a bluff. So it's possible Bellarmino is going to like level himself into something here.
Yeah.
And there's the call. It's an understandable call based on how he played the hand.
Kristen is just masterful at all of this stuff, and it's been great to watch. We've gotten, I think at least 2 hands that we are probably going to do as breakdowns, as podcasts in the future.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. That's really cool.
So for those of you who don't know about it, when we do breakdowns, we take suggestions. So if you guys want to suggest hands from this stream, go ahead and do it on Twitter. We're the Poker Guys on Twitter, and you'll get a shout out if we do the hand.
Indeed. Kristen McNell now 2-1 chip lead, all the experience in the world, one of the best players in the world. Things are really lining up for her to pick up her 3rd World Series of Poker bracelet. Obviously, anything can happen, and Bellarmino has been a tough opponent this entire final table. Not just to her, but to everyone, but also to her. But
mostly to Ilya, right?
Yeah, the 3rd place finisher. We got basically Nutlow versus 3rd Nutlow here, give or take. Not exactly, but close. And there's the fold.
Well, I imagine we'll see a raise and probably a call out of Bellarmino here.
Yeah, I think so. 40 blinds to start the hand. Can't really go folding in position with this hand.
Well, now flopping a gut shot. This could be a raise opportunity.
Or even just a float, because in position with the backdoor spades as well. I think it's probably more of a float than a raise most of the time. We'll say, oh, kind of biggish sizing again from Kristen.
More than half
That's
pot,
interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, fascinating turn.
Yeah.
She can rep it, and it's a combo draw now for Bellarmino.
I kind of love shoving as Bellarmino if Kristen bets again.
I mean, what are we repping? We're repping like king, deuce, king, 3.
Some king, queen that we could play this way pre-flop. It's not crazy.
A little bit of king, queen.
She does bet again. He calls.
Smaller this time.
Hits a 4. He's in the lead now.
I mean, is Kristen going to give up here? She can't really think she's ahead when the 4 comes in, especially. She's losing to all the straight draws now, too. Is she going to try and get Bellarmino off like a queen?
That would be the target.
4 in case. You can also target a 4 because of like 4-5 and 4-6. More 4-5 than 4-6, unless it's the 4-6 of spades, exactly. I
guess you better hope it's not one of the other straight draws, like ace-5 or 5-6.
5-6 can't really call the turn, though.
Yeah, well, the same is true for 4-6, which you mentioned as a potential hand that she's trying to get him off of.
Right, I mentioned the 4-6 of spades, but I'm saying 4-5, though, is the obvious one, right?
Yeah, and she does not go for it.
And once again, we are close as can be. It's 60 blinds against 52 blinds. These guys are battling hard. You know, everyone's trying to cooler each other.
Ooh, yeah, speaking of coolers,
wow.
Kristen with top and bottom pair.
Oh, my
Bellarmino with top pair. This could spell a lot of trouble for Bellarmino.
Yep. If the board runs out clean, Kristen can get 3 streets of value here.
Not too clean.
That's not clean.
Not clean at all.
I expect she's going to get 1 more street of value.
Unclean.
She's probably going to bet this. It's a little too good not to bet, I think.
It's a scary card. I mean, Bellarmino does complete some 2-pair combos and, of course, flushes.
Sure, but look at all the value she's going to be able to get right now, because Bellarmino, I don't think, can fold the jack for this bet in this spot.
It's a large bet again, though. And there's the 3. Kristen, no worries anymore. 3's full of jacks. Can she get value? How do you get value? What size do you go?
I think she's going to go really big. I think she might go pot or bigger.
We have
she
seen
might go 3-point.
Bellarmino's willing to call big pot size bets or near pot size bets with hero calls.
Like 3.2 million. She may go normal, but if she's trying to get called by a jack, yeah, she's going to bet a little less, I guess. But that's still huge. It's a humongous.
It's like 90% of the pot. 85%.
I don't think Bellarmino's going to find a call this time. I don't think. It's a weird story she's telling when the 3 pairs, though, and she bets big anyway. Because you would think he's the guy who has more 3s than she does.
Yeah, she has to have a 3 with a 5 or a 3 with a jack, which is what she has. She could have clubs too, by the way. She played it just like having clubs, so that's fair too.
She can have king 3 also, but that's like there's just not much there. I guess she could pocket 5s once in a while, but she limped.
Good fold. Good fold by Bellarmino.
Nice job. Whew.
Avoids the really big disaster there. Didn't lose too many chips in that spot.
The rail was all over the place on their sizing, possible sizings there. We got $500K from Aaron Jones, $2 million from George A. I was saying I was going more than pot personally. So Kristen shows something in between. I guess George A was pretty close with $2 million.
Bottom pair against middle pair here.
Checks again. And time to get value.
Yeah, probably a little cheeky value bet. 300K or so you'd expect.
Yeah. Trying to get called by a 6. Ace high.
560. She just has generally bigger sizing in these spots against this guy. I wonder if she has this sizing against every player or if this is a Bellarmino thing. She's noticed certain things about Bellarmino.
Mm-hmm.
Bellarmino gets away from it again. It's tough to fold multiple times with showdown value in a row, heads up. It just feels like you're getting bullied. That's a mental hurdle that is really tough to get over. And you feel like, am I getting owned? Am I getting just beat up and owned right now?
I know. You just yeah, am I just like playing way too passive and tight, and it's just so easy to push me around, and yeah. Oh, interesting. So Bellarmino's now got a limping strategy, clearly.
Yep.
This may really pay off a little bit. Probably going to be some extra chips out of Kristen this time.
Oh yeah. Can't fold the 9, that's for sure. Especially the 9 of spades. And now Kristen with a lot more equity picks up the spade draw.
Bellarmino can definitely bet again though with a hand this good. Even though it's a 4 of spades. Sizes it up. With the 9 of spades in her hand, can Kristen find a fold here?
I don't expect that she would. Maybe if she had 9 deuce of hearts, she would fold. But with the spade, I don't think she can. Now on the river, she may find a fold if Bellarmino bets again, and I think he will.
Can't beat, she can't beat any 9, right? She's looking at every 9 in the deck. Except when she's chopping, I guess.
When he bets that big, he's not repping a 9.
Right. Of course, you're right. He bets that big. It's. I mean, this is one of the worst hands he has when he bets this big, right? Maybe he has a few worse aces. He has like ace. I don't know. Would he bet this big with ace 8? Maybe he would. It all sort of plays the same, right?
And she makes the call.
Oh, wow.
That must be a 9 of spades thing.
Yeah. I think it is. And Bellarmino back in the chip lead.
This is a great heads-up match.
Wow. What a match. Okay, we got top pair versus a gutter.
I would be very sad to find either of these players on my left in a big spot in a tournament.
Yeah. Me too. I would like them to have very few chips if they're going to be on my left.
Yeah.
Okay, by the way, here's Bellarmino raising the gutter. Kristen's hand is way too good to fold. She's way too high up in her distribution. That card is good for Kristen.
Yeah, she has more 7s than Bellarmino for sure.
Bellarmino, the only way Bellarmino has a 7 is if he has a full house right now. And she blocks some of that. It's like 3-7 is like the full house that he mostly has if he has it. Otherwise, she's usually ahead. I don't think she's going to find a fold here. Will Bellarmino take one final shot? He's been going for it. Will he give up?
This would be a big one.
She mostly has kings when she calls the turn, right? The 7 pairs.
Yeah, he gives up.
I think it's right. I think it's the right move.
I think she was calling.
Yeah, me too.
He's limping again with the 5s. Not the flop you want with the 5s.
But it's going to work out. Taro Kudrik says her smaller time bank may end up being the difference here. It's an interesting point. She took so long to call with those jacks. She took minutes to call with those jacks. That said, she's played so much poker that I got to believe that the time bank isn't going to work against her too much. But I guess that's a reason for Bellarmino to put her in more tough, big spots because her time bank is going to be more of a factor. So maybe that helps him. You're probably right that helps him a bit. James C says he thinks Bellarmino check raises some 7s. I guess you're probably right, James. I was probably being a little too extreme, a little too polarized, saying he doesn't have any except full houses, but probably very few 7s, right? Like mostly those are check calls. Well, she does block the nuts straight with a 5, but doesn't take a shot.
Even though she has a lot of experience, the time bank thing might be a factor. If you remember that Steve O'Dwyer versus Brian Caverman hand, or Caverman, that was heads up for one of the EPT events, when O'Dwyer made a move that was kind of not that good of a story, but later said he wouldn't have done it if he didn't know that Caverman had no time banks left, because Caverman takes a ton of time to think through things. So even the best players, extra time does help.
Sure. But like you said, Caverman is known for taking an absurd amount of time every time. And Kristen, we haven't seen her really use her time bank much at all, except in that one hand. So I doubt it's going to come into play. But of course it's a factor, and of course it's a slight advantage for Bellarmino. Everyone's right. You guys are all right for saying that. It helps a little. David Capico says she's used to playing with the shot clock and or multi-tabling. That is certainly true.
Yep.
At the same point, we saw how long she took with that Jacks decision, right? So like she's going to want to, there's some decisions she may want to take a few minutes on, and she's only going to be able to do that one more time. Time bank was a luxury. You are correct. Didn't have to use that much time. That's true. I imagine if she had 30 seconds, she just would have clicked the call button. So that's fair, David. Anyway, here we are. She flops bottom pair and some backdoors. Reasonable to bet this.
Likely to bet, I would say. No, checks back.
Equity, but right into a king also.
King that's also a heart, killing some of her outs.
Yeah,
one of her outs.
A good point. She's gonna. Oh wow! Look at the sizing. Look at the sizing. These guys are both sizing so big. It's really interesting.
Bellarmino limping 100% of hands on the button now.
Yep. Harry points out that Harry Chapman that Bellarmino was had a limping strategy from the point he got three-handed, not just heads up. So that's a good point. We did not point that out. Excellent point, Harry. Or as we like to say, Harry.
And we're back to the Bicknell flops. This is the Bicknell flop zone, and you're just a spectator.
Not surprising that Harry would point out that Bellarmino was the boy who limped, right? Oh, come on, that's great.
Wonderful. Well, looks like we're hitting up a break. We'll have 16 more hands in level 30, which I love that they're doing it by hands again. That's a great feature, I think.
Yeah, I really like that too. All right, so let's reset everything here, Grant. Your heads up, you're Kristen Bicknell, okay? You got the chip lead, you've got all the experience. You're up against a very aggressive player in Bellarmino. You've seen Bellarmino just try and run over the table for a while. Are you making any strategic modifications? Like, where are you going off of GTO if you're Kristen?
I think what we've seen her do, if it's not part of her normal strategy, is to bet bigger when you have it, when you want action on the river, because players tend to assume a lot of their own traits in their opponents. And Bellarmino is an aggressive player who bets big in a lot of spots and may assume that Bicknell is often just going to go barrel, barrel, barrel and bluff big a lot because Bellarmino is apt to do that. So maybe she's adjusted and decided, since he thinks that's a good idea, maybe he thinks I think that's a good idea, I'm going to go big for value. That's what I've seen her do so far, and I think it's probably a smart thing, and I think it's something she should continue doing.
Yeah. I don't think we've seen her actually triple barrel yet as a bluff. We've seen her double barrel with the ace jack, but then she checked. And even that, she may have been like, denying equity in her mind. But I don't think we've seen her at the final table even do any triple barreling. I don't believe. It's not something you see very often, I guess, but still, it's interesting. Like, we've definitely seen Bellarmino do that. David Capico asks, with the hands per blind change, how do they make that work with bust outs when there are table changes? I don't believe that they were doing that until the final table, David.
Yeah, that's just a final table thing, which is something super cool, and I hope everybody can implement that for live poker too. Yeah. It's just brutal and frustrating to be the short stack and have levels just drag on so slowly when you have a couple tankers and it's just hurting you so badly. And people can actually strategically do that for ICM purposes, and it's really annoying as well.
Yeah. Well, at the final table, there's no real value in tanking, like, for that reason. But people will tank for other reasons when they... there's no real value in that, right, at a final table, right?
No, at a final table there's not.
Yeah, so that's the only place it would come into play. But having said that, yes, like, doing it this way would mean you're just much less likely to have some of the... It feels like it would just go quicker, or you don't get punished, I guess, when someone tanks forever as a short stack, which is nice, Very, very nice. All right, let's flip the script for a second. So Bellarmino, we know less about him, but he's got a Hendon. It's not huge, but he's got a Hendon. He plays pretty darn well, it seems. So my guess is he's probably doing pretty well online, and has pretty good wins online. You're playing up against one of the best players in the world in Kristen Bicknell. Do you make any adjustments from what you've been doing till now?
I don't know. I think what Bellarmino's been doing of limping the button is a strategy that he probably came into this tournament with the idea that he's that guy who does that heads up in tournaments, and maybe it works for him in a lot of cases. But I think when you're against a player who is very likely to be superior to you, whether or not you can admit it to yourself, you should absolutely up the variance. You should absolutely put more chips in when you have position. Take every advantage you can sizing-wise. Make the stack-to-pot ratio smaller post-flop. So I think you should stop the limping strategy. and take away a lot of Kristen's post-flop edge. Now, he may have a different sense of his own abilities and think that he's in Kristen Bicknell's class or better than her. I think there are very few people in the world who are that good. So it would be a bit, that would be a bit of hubris to think, unless you also have a resume like Kristen Bicknell and the showy play and the skill of Kristen Bicknell, to think that you actually can hang with her post-flop and deep stack play. So I would be trying to just put more chips in the pot pre-flop in general.
Yeah, I agree completely with that. It would be hard, I think, for most players to be able to look across the table at Kristen and think, well, I'm just as good or better than she is, unless you're really letting stuff get in your way. I mean, she's crushed poker for the last year and a half, 2 years. She's done so well. She has so many big wins, and often against the best players in the world. She's playing all the high roller stuff. She has the best poker friend, partner, person to talk poker about in the world, probably, in terms of Alex Foxen, or one of them anyway. I mean, it's an incredible spot for her. And to have to play against something like that, I think you just have to acknowledge that, as you're saying, up the variance, play bigger pots, hope to get lucky, or just make her make tough marginal decisions, which sometimes Bellarmino's doing, but it's all post-flop.
Right. Yeah. I think you should ditch the limping strategy. That's the short version. I think you should be 3.5xing at least, small to big, against Kristen.
Mr. BP Stuff asks, she's running so good, 9 scientific, but does it change your play? It shouldn't change your play, but sometimes it does, I think. Sometimes it affects people a little bit, where it's like, that guy just always has it. And it just keep turning over hands. And if you're seeing it get to showdown anyway, it's possible Bellarmino hasn't seen, because we're seeing all the hands, but Bellarmino may not be watching the stream, may not know that she's hitting flops as hard as she is. And it may look like she doesn't have it, and she's just, just aggressing her way home. We know that's not true.
Yeah. Well, let's see if anything changes. Looks like we're going to be back to the action here.
All right. Notice when Kristen decides to limp against you, it's a sign you probably shouldn't be limping also.
Yeah.
Yeah, to your point.
Still, it is anybody's game. Poker is a high variance game.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
There's a lot of chips out there. Bellarmino has a decent amount of them.
Interesting check again for Bellarmino with the second flush draw.
It's going to cost him. He's going to now lose this pot almost certainly. Yeah, doesn't even take a shot.
I mean, she's going to bet for value, and he might call. We'll see how she sizes this one. Again, more than we would expect, right? And he just finds a fold right away. Pretty interesting. Thanks, Evan Jarvis.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Kevin Crawford makes a really good point. He got heads up, but had he not shoved the deuces, he almost certainly would. He might have already won this tournament had he not shoved the deuces.
True. That did seem like the one mistake that Bellarmino has made that was a clear mistake in my mind at the final table.
Agreed. It's possible Bellarmino was sort of thinking like, I'm willing to gamble here, make sort of a bad quote call, just to get rid of the best player at the table, and so like you stretch a little bit to do it. But of course, this is the other side of that.
Yeah. She would have been
deuces, out. It's like
she would have been out in that one because the ace queen folded and there was a queen on the flop and an ace on the turn, and Bicknell did not make a set with her nines.
Yeah, she would have been out long ago, and Bellarmino would have had more chips than Bellarmino had at the end of the hand too. I mean, everything would have been better for Bellarmino, for sure. And Kristen turns a pair. Bellarmino, of course, has the gutter. Evan, we are out of Portland, Oregon. James is asking us to summarize the deuces hand. Maybe we'll do it when there's a really boring hand being played, which certainly could happen anytime.
Yep. No, she just checks back and takes her equity.
Wow. Big turn card, though, for Bellarmino also.
Quick summary of the deuces hand. Bellarmino opened deuces under the gun. Got flatted +1. Bicknell had about 20 blinds and 2 nines. Shoved for middle position. for 20 blinds, and Bellarmino decided to reship the deuces from under the gun, which felt optimistic. Folded out the ace-queen, who would have beat Bicknell. No deuce came. Bicknell nearly tripled up against the deuces with her nines.
I think it's important to say the ace-queen tanked for a long time and strongly considered calling anyway, which would have been that player might have.
Hold on. Alert. Bellarmino is upping the variance. This is the right move, even though it's the wrong time.
It is definitely the wrong time. But Chris is probably just going to call here. Yeah. Although that's
now this is problematic, and Bellarmino might really get in trouble here.
I imagine Kristen's never going to put in a raise and just call and let Bellarmino blast off. We'll see how many barrels he's going to fire at this. This could be the end.
This really could be.
He's got a range advantage.
Double gutter now. Double gutter.
Yeah, that's right. That said,
no, not a double gutter. I'm a fool.
Oh, I see. You talked me right into it.
I did. I said it with such convincing language. Yeah. He does check. He does give up. Doesn't look like this is the end of Bellarmino.
Nope. But she's going to have all the chips now. She's going to have a 3-1 chip lead at the end of all this. I mean, he could try and rep a jack. He would check a jack on the turn.
It's not going to work. And he has given up officially.
I mean, he'd be repping a jack to try and fold out an 8, I guess. He'd be betting to fold out an 8. But it's definitely not going to work. She's going to bet for value, I guess. Try and get called by a king.
It's close. This is a really close one.
It's okay just to check here, but it's reasonable to try and get called by a king. So I don't want to use too much of that time bank, Kristen. But this is how we know it's close, that she's actually using this time. Really thinking about this one. How much would you bet if you were betting for value?
1.4, 1.6, something like that.
Yeah, 1.6 sounds about right to me. Just takes her equity. That's all she was going to get anyway, so.
Well, Bellarmino tried to up the variance, and it kind of failed spectacularly, but that is going to happen sometimes. It is called variance.
It was. This is also kind of unlucky for Bellarmino that they both flop a 9. The ace and the 3-heart nature of the board means it's probably going to not be too bad. But Bellarmino's short enough now that just, if the case 9 shows up, it's just over. Well, not anymore. I assume that's the end of the action. No one's going to need to bluff at this. And she can't bet for value with this hand, right? Maybe she can. Maybe she thinks she can get value out of an ace. No. David Capico asked if we play mixed games. I would say Grant doesn't play mixed games at all, and I play mixed games very, very little, and not super well, except maybe triple draw.
If I play mixed games, it's with our friends, and it's for not many stakes, and I've had 11.5 beers, and I'm losing $28, which is like the most anybody's ever lost at those stakes, basically. Yeah,
I'd say I wouldn't call it mixed games. It's mixed game is what I would say. And triple draw, it's been a long time. Like last time I played triple draw seriously was like when poker in the US was legal, I was playing like 15-30 on PokerStars. But it's been a long time. So anyway, Kristen with ace high, but it is not good currently. She probably doesn't feel like she needs to bluff at this. Look how those VPIPs have gone up.
Well, it is heads up. Makes a big difference.
Yeah, of course.
I'm surprised they're this low, actually. I guess if it's a rolling hour, that makes sense.
Yeah, it's got to be. The 3-handed still got to be a part of it. Oh, and Bellarmino taunts her with the running hot.
Will she recover? Will she recover emotionally from that? That is the next question.
Well, this is a chance for Bellarmino to get some more chips.
Absolutely.
Two streets are in play here, unless somebody improves. Queen of Diamonds would be a fun little card. Can't imagine she's going to fold yet.
Oh, it's a 5.
Gosh, this could be it.
It really could be. I don't think Bellarmino. I don't think Bellarmino should bet though. He does. I don't know if I love that when the 5 pairs. I think it's check call mode. What do you think?
I think it's okay to bet because you're trying to get value out of worse kings.
There's not that many worse kings. I mean,
I know, and now you're chopping. But I think you should check this card. But he's gonna have to call a shove, and she's gonna shove. I think this is it.
He shoves. Whoa! Wow. And that's gonna end things.
By like 2 10s or ace jack or something. That's the end. It's over. Kristen Bicknell wins her 3rd World Series of Poker bracelet, $356,000. Can't say she didn't deserve it. She played fabulously. So did her heads-up opponent. That was incredible. What a match.
Bellarmino was great. I need to take some time and think about that last hand. That might be a breakdown-worthy hand for any of you who are interested in our podcast. Go ahead and suggest that hand on Twitter. We are the Poker Guys on Twitter. I want to do a breakdown of that last hand because I have some questions that I need answered, and I can only answer them myself talking to Jonathan for 45 minutes about a hand.
That's what we do. We'll probably make videos of some of these hands as well and break them down that way, too, if you guys are not podcast people. But you're crazy. Anyway, thanks, everyone, for watching. We're going to be back certainly Sunday. There's some event on Sunday we're doing.
It might actually not be till next Wednesday this time. I think this might be a Sunday that's a little weaker, but we will be back with more World Series of Poker coverage in the very near future, and we hope to see you all there.
Yeah, follow our Twitter. We'll certainly be posting on Twitter about it. All right. Thanks, everybody.